How's everybody doing today? How are we doing? Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. We're gonna get started in just a few minutes. We just closed our candle for today. We had a nice green candle and now it's turning red. Starting to turn red, starting to pull back. Is it going to hold, or are we going to hit this line here at about 247 and bounce off? That is the real question. Are we going to be able to hold this? Or is this it? Was that our last big pump before we drop down here into lower zones? What's up, Neo? I said it'll go to $1.50. It still can. I said it would go to 160 and it did. I don't know. If we hit the line here at 247, let's pause the music here. It could take months. It could take months for that to happen. I would say middle of June is the time frame for it to drop like that. And I told everybody moon cycle. I told everybody that Monday was the full moon and that the markets pump based on the moon cycle. I told you all this. If you were paying attention, you would have known. So when do you predict will be the all-time high? I think we may have already reached our all-time high at 340. I think that was it for this cycle, possibly. Or we go up from here and we hit $3, but if we don't hold between $2.60 and $3, it's not going to happen. We're not going to reach above 240. And we've already dropped well below 260 and we're headed down to 250. So if we cannot hold 250, I would say that we're headed back down. But 247 is the blue line right here. We hit this line and bounce up from there. I would say the curse is broken and we've broken out of this downtrend. We can get rid of the ghost and we can start flipping the narrative, but we have not confirmed anything yet. So we got to come back down here. See these two candles? For these two candles closed is 247. All right. Now, is that going to be held as support? What's up, Aussie Nate? Could we hit all-time highs? It's possible. Could we hit $7? It's possible. I think $5 is more of a realistic point. If it breaks out of this trend and it blows past $3. But it could literally go up to as high as 280 and still come back down. So these types of moves don't happen overnight. Okay? These are a long term. Okay? In the short term, I told you that we were going to pump till Monday, and we did. We were all the way down here at 215. And I told y'all, hey, moon cycle. Moon cycle. All right. Full moon was May 12th. Monday, May 12th. You put a sell order in at 280. Yeah, I think $283 will probably be it. To be honest with you. It could be it already. This could just be it right now. It could pump up again to about 260, 265-ish and be done. We'll see. We got to give it a little bit of time. But if it holds as support, then we're looking at going up. If we lose support, we're looking at breaking downward. So I've been waiting for this to happen. When we had the show Friday, we were in this candle right here. All right? We were in this candle, and I told you all, hey, moon cycle, we're probably going to pump to Monday. Monday, boom. Lined up perfectly with the full moon. We lost support, just like you said. We'll go up if we hit 250, and it did. Exactly. Everything did just as I said it would. The question is, are we going to hold it? I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for confirmation that this blue line on the top here or this one right here are going to become support and push it up. I'm not convinced yet. And it's pumping because of moon cheese. Everyone is being spoon-fed the moon cheese. All right? The trade deals with China, all that. Nothing has been signed yet. Not with the UK, not with China. There are no deals. There is literally a 90-day pause. That's it. There is no deal. I had people messaging me last night saying, hey, do you think this China trade deal thing is going to go through? I said, probably not. We probably won't get a trade deal. It's too soon. Those types of things don't happen overnight. However, these are speculative pumps. You buy the rumor, you sell the news. Okay? We did not get a trade deal. There is no trade deal. I would say that we're temporary bullish. We're bullish. I mean, right now we're bearish. We're closing a red. We're opening up into a red candle. Earlier today we were bullish, definitely. And I told everybody I was bullish till Monday. All right, the moon cycle. The moon cycle. All right. This is normal. I knew it was going to happen. I knew we were going to pump till Monday. Question is, are we going to hold it here? And if we do, definitely going to see $3. Well, maybe not definitely, but near $3 zones. Okay. What's up, Ghost Pepper? So maybe $3, and if we hit there and we blow past it, you know, I could see $5. It would be like $3.84 first, and then depending on what we form there, you know. But I could see it going all the way to $7. I think $7 or $8 would be the max. That's a long way up to $8. There's no way it's going past $10. $10 is one of those super high psychological zones. It just isn't going to happen. But I think, you know, somewhere between 4 and 7 is realistic, but $5 is going to be a hard one to break. $5 is going to be a hard one to break. It's a psychological zone, just like $10. But we pumped perfectly all the way into Monday with the moon cycle. And so today marks the end of the moon cycle, and we start moving into a waxing gibbous, or is it a waning gibbous? The waning gibbous on the moon cycle is a pullback, and we'll continue to pull back, and we'll get price correction obviously as we go. If we hold support. How did we lose? We lost TikTok. So if you are on TikTok, don't forget astrology, no, astronomy. So we're using astronomy. What's up, random guy on the internet? How's it going? Viewer discretion. So we're not using astrology, we're using astronomy. And I've noticed this trend over the years. No, astronomy and astrology are two different things. So I've noticed, because I do astronomy as one of my hobbies. I have a Galileo telescope, and I always like to go out and look at the stars with my telescope. I take my Jeep out to the desert and I go take my telescope, right? Well, what I've noticed, because I'm trading, I'm also monitoring the moon cycle, because on a new moon is the best night to go out and view the stars. And so over the years, I've noticed that the moon cycle plays a role, especially with XLM, stellar lumens. You said it was going to 50 cents a month ago? No, that was B. B said it was going to 50 cents. And I do think it will go to 50 cents at some point once this bull run's over. It will go to 50 cents. But last week I told you, moon cycle, we were going to pump till Monday. Today's the full moon as of this Monday, and it pumped just as I said it would. Now, I do think there's still potential to break down from here. If we cannot hold support, we're going to break down. It's always going to drop, and then it's going to go up, and then it's going to drop. Okay, the question is the trends. Is it going to continue trending upward, or is this the bull trap before it breaks and drops down here, which would be May 21st? XYO coin? Yeah, come on over to Twitch and join the chat on Twitch, and I would be more than happy to do that, or become a subscriber on TikTok. As a subscriber, I will look at any of the coins you have that you want me to look at, as well as I do coaching. So if you're looking for coaching, and I post daily price point videos of what is happening with the markets. Why is XRP going down, not up? It's going down because this is normal price correction. It's got to drop at least to 247. Minimum 248, somewhere along there. This is normal. It goes up and then it comes down, and it goes up and then it comes down, and it goes up and down. It moves in waves. So the question is, now that it's coming down, and you have to take into consideration, there are people like me that we bought all the way back here. I've been buying XRP since 2017, and all these low zones between 20 and 30 cents, I have been buying XRP like crazy. And when it pumps up, I take my profits. Okay? I took my profits here, I exited the market here, and we re-entered the market at about $2. Now, we're moving up again. The reason it's coming down is because all those people who have our moon bags we've been holding, okay? I exited the market, but I still have my moon bag. And from my moon bag, when it gets big pumps like this, I still take profits. And when it drops back down, I put them back in. That's how it works. The head and shoulders pattern is pretty much invalidated now. Not necessarily. That head and shoulders that was forming right here, yes. But it could form a new head and shoulders. It could come here and move here and go down like that. And that would be another shoulder. So it is still possible. The head and shoulders has not officially been invalidated. This original head and shoulders, yes. But as I posted for the head and shoulders, that a trade deal would more than likely influence that in a positive direction. So just because it's forming a head and shoulders doesn't mean that it's actually going to do that. And like I said, Friday, we were going to pump all the way to Monday. And Monday could be it because it's the moon's cycle. So if we're going into a waxing gibbous, we could start seeing a pullback from here on down. So we just got to kind of watch and see. But we're already down to 251. If we can't hold above 250... and I would say 247 to 250 is that support zone right there. We need to hold above that, but we could come all the way down to the blue line here, which would be 246-ish. 246, 245 even. It could wick into it, but I would say the candle close above this line. And I would say that this line is now support and no longer resistance. But we have to watch and see. Being patient. A lot of people were messaging me, hey, it's pumping, it's all the way up to freaking 260. Should I jump in right now? I said, no, just wait. It'll pull back down. If it's going to go again, we'll be able to catch it here. It always moves in waves. You know, don't buy the top and sell the bottom. You know, if it jumps up here like this, no big deal. Just wait. It'll come back down. You'll get another entry point and then ride it back up again. You usually get 2 shots. Okay? You usually get 2 shots at a price. If it's going to go up higher, it'll pump higher the second time. If it's going to go lower, it won't pump as much. Okay, I would say that we're due all the way from 161 all the way to 265, that we're due for some, at least a correction down here to 226. Okay, and then move back up. Let's just say that over, by the way, that the 250 whatever zone that I'm saying, that's if we're just going to continue to like moon candle up, okay? If we're about to catch a moon candle, but we could come all the way down to 231, 230, and that's it. And X marks the spot, okay? So as you can see here, in the chart, let me zoom in here so you guys can see it a little better. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, turn your phone to the side for a better viewing experience. So it doesn't perfectly line up. It's one day off, but on the X, it lined up perfectly. Soon as we crossed over this X on the top side, we pumped up to it, right? We had a little bit of a pullback, and then boom, we pumped again. All right? Right up to the X. Right up to it. Look it. Right on the X, we started pumping. As soon as we got pumped, we came right up to the X. Boom. Okay? And then I noticed the lunar cycle. I said, hey, we're going to pump till Monday. Now we did get a pullback, Sunday pullback, and that's actually a good sign. The fact that we pulled back on a Sunday finally means that we're moving out of the meme coin trend we've been in. What's up, TikTok treasure? How you doing, fam? How you doing, my boy? By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends, follow the show, but don't forget to become a subscriber and get access to those daily price point videos. I'm posting videos daily for subscribers, telling you all this stuff daily, marking it out. You know, I told you guys, hey, this looked like it could possibly be a head and shoulders forming, but the news on Monday, if it's positive, could break that trend. And what did it do? We got the news. We got the moon cheese. I'm feeling so much better today. Today is a beautiful day. I've been working my ass off on this studio. It's crazy how much work it is. And getting a construction crew to come in and work on a holiday weekend because it's Mother's Day, impossible. Impossible. Just finding a construction crew that'll work on weekends is nearly impossible. And then getting them to work on a holiday weekend, can't do it. Can't. So I was hoping to have the cameras up today. However, the IT guy came in and we got other things set up, but the cameras will be done soon. Yesterday it went to 248 and went straight back down. Didn't hit the 250. Bro, you are calling it within 3 cents. Bro, you're killing it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we are, you know, I wouldn't even say I'm calling it. I'm just looking at the trend lines and pointing out zones of resistance. It's very simple. It's math. It's not hard. All you have to do is read the candles. I don't use any indicators. I don't use any methods or whatever. Sorry, somebody's scamming on TikTok in the chat. So the way it works is the candles don't lie, man. Okay? They show the resistance going back. You find the consolidation in the candles, and then also we can remember past times when we traded in these zones where it got stuck and where, you know, you kind of remember that. You know, remember 220 zone? How long were we stuck in 220 sideways? Months ago. We were there for like weeks. When you're stuck in a zone in consolidation like that, it, you know, that's how you know that when you get into that area, it's going to be fucked up. Like, that is, consolidation zones like that are where once you get into them and you're stuck in that zone, it is very hard to tell whether we're going up or we're going down and where it's going. You know, I mean, it's easy to tell because it's going between, you know, 215 and 220, and that's it. That's all it's going to do. What's hard to tell is which side it's going to break out to. But once you get that breakout, it's very simple. It's very simple. It always follows the trend lines because everybody else, let me tell you, all of the big time traders are doing it this way. Yeah, they're using the indicators and other things, you know, but the real way that they are trading, and when I say the big dogs, I mean these are the firms, the big players that manage other people's money. So they've got clients on top of clients on top of clients, right? And then all their clients have got millions, if not billions of dollars invested, and they cannot mess up. They can't. They have to stick to a method. And this is that method that we're using here. We're using their method. Okay, that's why using the indicators and the wave patterns and all that, they don't play off. I mean, they do, but really the way they do is trends and candles. That's how it's done. It's been done like that since the 20s, I think. But I don't think it was like measured in candles. It's more like graphs. But I guess it's a graph. But that's how it's been done. And you're looking for support and resistance and trends. That's it. It's very simple. But thank you, Big Baller. I appreciate it. However, I feel like what I'm doing is not that simple, but I get it. A lot of people don't understand this. They don't know, or they don't have the time to sit here 20 hours a day like I do and stare at this freaking thing and see the patterns and notice it. And I do know that my brain works a little bit differently. So I get it. For me, it's very simple. So if I don't mean to belittle you if you're struggling or having trouble, but let me tell you, there are a lot of people who have signed on with me and have taken advantage of the coaching. They are trading like expert traders and they are winning. Now, do we always catch every tip of every wick, every bottom of every candle? No, we don't catch every tip, but we catch some of them. All right, we catch some of them, but we're making consistent trades that are profitable. And I say that my method's probably 80%, but everyone else seems to say it's much higher. But I feel like my method's about 80%. And that's what it takes to make money in this. If you have something 75% or better, you're doing it right. I'm still waiting for it to go below $1 to buy more. I mean, if you are waiting for it to go below, you could get priced out. I have a moon bag. I have a bag that I don't care. I bought it at such a low price, and I've been holding it for all these years that I'm never going to sell all of it. I'm just going to continually take profits from it as it goes up. And sometimes I take from those profits and I reinvest them elsewhere, such as this show. I've spent over $15,000 into building this show with equipment. We literally started as I was the dude doing the live from my Twitch, or not my Twitch, my Nintendo Switch. It wasn't really a Nintendo Switch, but it was a tablet. I had my tablet and my phone pointed at it, and that's how we started this show. And now I've got 3 monitors, lights, cameras. We have a staff here. I have an IT guy. I have journalists that go through the news. I have fact checkers. I have this amazing studio that we built, and you guys can't hear the airplanes anymore. As you all know, I live my part of my property is a landing strip and an airport fueling station in the middle of nowhere. And we have farms out here, and a lot of the planes that crop dust the farms and stuff, they all come in here to land and fuel and whatnot. And so we had to build a special place just to do the show because of the sound. And we have grown so much, and it's all because of you. Brother, what happened with that dip we predicted for XRP? Well, if you're watching the show every day, these dips are subject to change. And as I told everybody last week, that we were going to pump till Monday. And that's what happened. I said, hey, moon cycle, we're going to pump. So if you're not watching the show every day, you're going to miss things. Because this is all subject to change. I am not biased whatsoever. I'm here to make money, and I'm here to help you make money. And that's it. So if you're not watching every day and you just watch one show, you can get misled very quickly. Because I'm not one of these creators where I'm just sticking to it's going to $1 and that's it. No. As the news changes, as the Markets change and fluctuate. We adapt with it. And that's why we're successful. And it could still go to those lower zones, just not yet. It takes time. But I think we're due for a price correction. Hey, can you guys hear the plane right now? That was a loud one. That was a big plane. That must have been like a B-52. If you guys didn't hear that plane, that means that the studio is working properly. So, we're going to have to wait and see. Are we going to break this downward trend? Okay, Ethereum. I'm hella bullish on Ethereum, especially if we start losing Bitcoin dominance. I think Ethereum's finally going to do what everyone's been waiting for. I think it's coming. I think Ethereum is gearing up. Can't hear it, huh? Awesome. I can literally feel it rumbling below my feet. But you guys can't hear it. That's all we need. The entire building shakes. So I feel like Ethereum, is about to get its comeback. Bitcoin dominance will serve a purpose. Do I think that we're in a regular cycle? No. But do I think a lot of people think we are? Yes. So when Bitcoin dominance drops, I am banking on the fact that Ethereum and altcoins will pump, and utility coins. If you want me to look at other projects, you gotta become a subscriber or come over to Twitch, and it's free. That's Oz the Crypto Goat. We're live on Twitch as well. If you come into the Twitch chat and put in your requests, I will look at them, no problem, no charge. But I do believe that other people believe that we're in a regular cycle, and because of it, we'll get a pump. I don't think it's going to be as much as people think because the liquidity is more spread out. But we will get something because a lot of people have been waiting for Bitcoin dominance to drop. And Bitcoin's already losing some of its dominance, and it's headed back towards 100K. And if you were watching the show a few weeks ago, I told you, hey, everything looks bullish across the board. Weeks ago, I told you this. Everything had pumps in it. And then later this week, I told you we're going to pump till Monday. What about Chainlink? Yeah, let's take a look at Chainlink. I love Link, by the way. One of my tops. Definitely one of my tops. Link could be a flag. It's definitely a bit of a descending channel on the 1 day. Let's go into a shorter time frame and get a little more data. It's definitely price correcting right now. Looks kind of like a double, or I don't know if you'd call that a triple top. I'd call that more of a double top. And if it consolidates here, I'd even call it possibly a head and shoulders. That's possible. However, let me take a look at it here. So we had this upward trend followed by a drop. If this breaks here and starts turning green candles again, I would expect it to come and go into a upward trend from here. And it could see 217 again in the short term. I swear you've been bearish on XRP and it's gone up. You're not watching the show every day. It changes every day. The market changes every day. So it just depends on when you're watching. Did you hear that Coinbase is joining the S&P 500? I heard rumors. I do not know for sure. I will have a fact checker check on that right now. Let me get the fact checker. Hey, can we get a fact check on whether or not Coinbase is being added to the S&P 500? Is XLM done? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at XLM. That's a good question. I definitely know that everything was going to pump till Monday. So here we are, Monday, everything pumped. So now I'm just looking at the charts again on all these other coins. XLM looks like a bit of a flag on the day, possibly. Let's look at the 1 hour. I think everything's due for price correction, but I would say XLM's probably going to double bottom here and come back up to at least 33. Now, XLM didn't quite hit 35. XLM didn't quite hit 35 yet. I think it's still got more in it. Possibly. However, this is an ascending, broadening wedge. Okay? This pattern right here tends to be bearish. So I would imagine that XLM would pump and then come back down. And that would put it right under 35 cents, maybe 34 cents. So I think that this is the pattern it's forming. I think it'll probably double bottom where it's at right now, hit this zone of resistance, come up, and then come back down. And that lines up with middle of May. Middle of May is when we dropped in the last cycle. So we kind of have to wait and see, but I think it's got at least 233 to 234 left in it. I'm not sure it's done. Hopefully you took profits as it went up. I would say 230 and 233 to 235 would be the next spot. Obviously we peaked here, 233. I would say if it pumps again, I'd take profits at 233 and 234. I did sold at 233. Good for you. Good for you. Giddy Marie, I am so proud of you. You are the fastest learner I've had in this whole thing. You have come so far, and I'm so proud of you. And your patience has grown so much. That's another big thing here is patience. Those of you who are waiting for $1, Kirby, thank you for the heart me. The patience is what pays off. If you're waiting for a $1 zone to buy in, be patient. It will come. If you're waiting for, you know, today or tomorrow's trade, it's not going to happen. $1 XRP is not happening tomorrow. But it is going to be available for $1 at some point, I believe. Maybe $2 is the lowest it ever goes. I don't think so. I think at least 150 again. So these are all about time frames. If you're looking for things to hit these numbers overnight, then you're doing it wrong. Okay? That's not how this works. We have to be patient. We have to wait. We have to wait for breakouts. We were in this bearish trend here, which could still very well be a bull trap. And we could come right back into this and hit right here. X marks the spot. And this X right here lines up perfectly. This is May 21st, May 22nd. Okay? In our previous cycles, look what happened last time on that date. Big red candle. May 19th, May 20th, May 21st, May 22nd. All the way down here. So we still have to understand that just because things pumped because of some news and the moon cycle does not mean that we've broken out of the trend yet. So, I'm sure there's a lot of you that are waiting to who didn't get in, that were a little fearful, even though I said we'd probably pump till Monday. There's a lot of people that didn't enter because of this pattern, and I understand. I get it. I get it. However, if you missed it and you believe that it's going to continue once we hit the blue line, 247, 248, even possibly wick down into 244, 245. That would be your entry zone again, because you would have jumped in at that point anyway a few days before. Now we have, yeah, the news was fake news. That's why I'm not buying it yet. Once I see solid news, okay, once I see a real deal go through, once I see a real dropping of the case, then I will be less reserved. But until that happens, I feel like this is being propped up for some reason, which I believe they are trying to feed people BS to keep the markets from crashing, which means that we could be headed down. Frogs in a pot, people. Yeah, stock market too, everything. Frogs in a pot. The best way to boil a frog is not to boil water and throw the frog in. It will leap right out. But if you slowly turn the temperature up on the frog over time, the frog will enjoy that warm water, think it's taking a bath, and eventually it'll get so hot that the frog will cook. One more pump before it dumps? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. But I would say if it does pump and it doesn't get a lot, 255, if it does. But this could be a nasty head and shoulders. This could be a nasty head and shoulders forming, and that would bring the price all the way back down to 212, 215. And don't forget, guys, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends, send in those gifts if you're on TikTok. And if you are watching on Twitch, don't forget we are supported by donations. If you're on TikTok and you'd like to send donations, let me know and I will give you the place to send donations. That's OZZY 122-33-504 on Venmo and Cash App. You can send donations there to keep this show, because we don't make any money off of TikTok. We don't make any money off of Twitch. What we really make money here is off of our trades and by supporters like you. And like I said, I have a whole staff here. We have fact checking, We have IT support. And speaking of fact checking, who was it that asked about Big Baller? You asked about whether or not Coinbase was going to be on the S&P 500 according to AI. And it says Coinbase Global Incorporated coin will be added to the S&P 500 index, replacing Discover Financial Services DFS before trading on Monday, May 19th. This move marks the first time a crypto company will be included in the benchmark index. And I see 1, 2, 3 articles supporting it. Oz, have you looked into Richard Hart, Pulse Chain, or not yet? Yes, I have. TikTok Treasure, I posted a video to TikTok, and I wrote an article based on it just because of you. I wrote an entire article. Go ahead and check out that video on TikTok if you haven't seen it yet. I'm moving more into the journalism side of this show. I'm realizing that journalism is a big part of this show, not just technical analysis. So I'm now things such as your inquiries into certain things, I will be writing pieces on them. XPF. Okay. Here's my thing about XPF. I did look into XPF. Okay. And I am on the fence. I was going to throw about 10K, maybe 20 at it. Yeah, no problem, TikTok Treasure. I was going to throw some money at it. However, if you guys know who Jimmy E is, Jimmy E is one of the people that bought it on here. He bought it, jumped through all the hoops, added the trust line, bought it through Zaman Wallet, and the way he linked into it was through you call it Telegram. As soon as I heard Telegram, that was a red flag for me. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to attempt to buy it. I'll just wait till it's actually available. It could be a scam. I could be wrong, but for me, I'm not willing to put more than a couple $100 into it. And I honestly just haven't had time with the doing the show, building the studio, and dealing with Mother's Day and everything. I hadn't really bought into it yet because there's a lot of extra steps that you got to do with it. You got to buy it through your wallet, and then you got to link it to a trust and all these things, and it's a little complicated. CME will launch XRP futures 5/19/25. Yes, and those are short positions. It will pump at first because people will think that that is a ETF. People will think that CME futures is an ETF, and it will pump, and then they will get scammed. Kirby, XLM is an ascending broadening wedge, which is a bearish pattern, but I think it's got one more pump in it up to 233 to 235, maybe even just 234. Kirby White, thank you for the roses. Retail Well, thank you for the 2 roses. Appreciate you. But XLM looks like it's forming a double bottom here. And this is in the 1 hour. So I would imagine the XLM's got another one in it. And it may not go all the way to the top. It may fall short and just pump to 32 cents. But this pattern is that right there, baby. I just tried to describe. Did it go through? It looks like it did. Thank you for subscribing, Kirby. Much appreciated. And don't forget, with a deluxe subscription, you can message me directly and I can help coach you with your trades. everyone that I know that has deluxe subscribed and takes advantage of the coaching has been doing very well. Very well. Is it in the next few days? For the rest, I want to sell them. Okay, so if we're in the 1 hour chart, it's within the next couple days. I would say probably tomorrow or Wednesday. If we're in the 1 day chart, it's within the next week or so. Zebek. Yeah, let me check out Zebek. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna leave this XLF up. Zebek's pretty popular right now, huh? Zebek Network USD on Ethereum. No, that's not a good one. Some of these are Tether. I don't see it on Ethereum here. See here. See it on Tether. Built on Solana. Interesting. Zebek Network. It looks like it's on OKX. Let me try the trading view version. I believe this is by market cap though. Does that sound right at 0.001 price? Man, y'all into them penny stack stocks, huh? You want the pink sheets? All right. Zebek is a double top and came down, and it could drop. Well, it looks like it did. It dropped to this zone right here, recovered, and if it is a descending channel forming right here, I would say more than likely it's going to pump up, probably drop down again, and then break out upward, and that would put it at about 0.002 cents, and anywhere as low as, yeah, I would say 0.002, 0.0022. Circle, MasterCard. All right, I'm gonna look into it. I'm usually not one. See how this one here, it pumped really hard and then it's just been dropping. I usually won't buy ones like this until it's down here. See this flat line going across here? This is the zone I would buy in, generally. If I was going to make a trade and I was looking to buy into this project, I would buy down here. Because these things are so volatile. They are almost impossible to track. And it can make whatever trend you want. Look at, let me explain to you. Here's a perfect example. All right. This is an indication of this move upward here. However, right here is the exact same indication. And look what happened. It collapsed. It did not follow regular trends. It collapsed. And generally, I don't buy these low market cap coins up here. I want to buy anywhere in these zones. This would be 0.0008 and 0.0007. Do I think it could still possibly? However, based on prior trends and the type of coin it is, I would say that it's probably not going to follow. And this is a double top. And even if it is a double top, it could drop even lower to 0.0004. So it's very risky buying up here and trying to chart this. Could it do this? Yes. But I would say that you are definitely making a risky move. Oh, you want me to do algo? I would love to do algo, but you got to become a subscriber or you got to come over to TikTok, and I would be more than happy to go over those projects for you. It's got a lot of hype, though. I know it's very popular right now. I've had a lot of people asking about it this week, and you know it makes sense. Since end of April and May, it started pumping again, so it's getting hype because it's pumping again. But you're really buying the top right now. By the way, if you are watching on TikTok and you want me to go over one of these projects that you're naming out, I would be more than happy to do that. However, you got to become a subscriber or you got to come over to Twitch and put it in the chat on the Twitch side, because we do get hit with guidelines. And so sometimes we are stuck on the Twitch side. So it is our safety net. You've been in for 2 months? Oh, good for you. I definitely take profits. Make sure you're taking profits. That would be my advice. That's a free one for you. Take profits. Keep a little moon bag, baby. But if you guys want me to look at a project for you for free, all you got to do is come over and put it in the chat on the Twitch side. That's Oz the Crypto Goat, all lowercases, no spaces, on Twitch. So come on over and don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. We're at 666 likes. I don't like that number. Start smashing the like button. Let's see if we can get up to 50K likes. We usually average 50 to 100K likes, and those are rookie numbers. Louis Vuitton, thank you for the likes. Keep smashing the like button. Don't stop. Let's get up to 20K. Thanks again for looking into Pulse Chain. That video was awesome. I appreciate you for putting in light for me. We did cover that story, but I didn't deep dive into it like I did for that one. So we covered that there were, you know, what had happened and that he was, you know, being investigated. But the fact of how it actually ended up turning out was incredible. If you guys have not seen that video, go to my TikTok page, and I posted a news article that I wrote about Pulse Chain, the guy that scammed everybody and got away with it. So check out that story. Awesome story. Thank you, TikTok Treasure, for pointing that out to me. And if you guys are on Twitch and you throw something like that by me, I'm going to look into it for you. And I'm going to start, you know, doing these news articles, and I want to do journalism. And we're going to start doing shows where I'm going to be going out, and I literally have all the equipment. Some of it is still in the mail, but it's getting delivered today. And I am going to be meeting people. Hold on. TikTok wants me to two objects that are the same. TikTok wants me to prove that I'm still here. So I'm going to be doing interviews on the street. I'm going to be meeting people at different places. When I go out to the baseball game, when I go to Vegas, when I go to the grocery store, I'm going to be interviewing people and asking them certain questions that have to do with the content that we're talking about. We're going to be talking about different cryptos and projects people have heard of. We're going to be talking about the news and current events and the war and the tariffs and the price of gas and groceries. When I stop at the gas station, I'm going to be asking people, hey, do you think gas is going to come down? Do you think it's going to go up? Where do you generally buy your gas from? Is this a place you always go to? Do you buy Chevron? Do you buy this? And try to get an idea of, because some people are disconnected. Some people have more money than other people. And I want to go into different areas. I want to go into rural areas, impoverished areas, richer areas, suburbs, and ask the different people the same questions and see if there's still a consensus. So look at my charts. If you want me to look at any of your projects, you got to become a subscriber or come over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat, all lowercases, no spaces, on Twitch, and I will do it for free. All right, let's look at XRP again. As you can see, we are now getting a little bit of a wick, but this candle just opened, so we're going to have to wait and see. Be patient and see what happens. But it looks like we're holding. And this is a good sign, being this far away from the blue line. Now, tomorrow could be when we reach it. But the fact that we're not slamming back into it could indicate that this is a new upward trend to 280. And X marks the spot again right here. So this would be June 17th, which lines up with what I've been telling you. If we do trend along here like this, we could hit this X and blow, I would say, to all-time highs or higher, $4 and beyond possibly. So we'll have to see. Let's get into some news, though. We got some news today, and that's why we got green candles earlier this morning. Let's see what the news has to say. XRP news today. BlackRock speculation lifts XRP to 7-week high. The XRP surged 5.4%. BlackRock ETFs talk with the SEC signal a major shift in sentiment, fueling optimism across the crypto markets. BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust has seen massive inflows, suggesting potential for an XRP ETF demand surge. Now, this is all speculation. Nothing has been confirmed. BlackRock has never mentioned XRP, period. This is 100% moon cheese. So we have no confirmation on this at all. Let's read a little bit more. XRP surged, blah, blah, blah. We read all that. Factors for approving crypto ETPs under Section 6B of the Exchange Act and possible interim framework for ETP issuer activities. SEC sentiment shifts and ETF prospects. Crypto America host and journalist Eleanor Terrett highlighting the shift in the SEC stance on crypto, stating the second meeting with BlackRock today marks the Crypto Task Force 99th meeting with industry participants, nearly 100 meetings since February. What a stark contrast to the last 4 years. BlackRock is investing in Ondo, I believe. Well, I'll look into that. Can you fact check and see if BlackRock is looking into Ondo? If there's a ETF for BlackRock? Despite growing speculation, BlackRock has redeemed silent on the XRP spot ETF plans. Since debunking a fake iShares XRP spot ETF trust filing in November 2023, the event, which triggered a pump and dump rally, likely forced the ETF issuer to delay plans pending the outcome of the SEC versus Ripple case. And I think that is highly likely that BlackRock isn't even going to mention XRP until the case is settled and the injunction is removed. Because as long as the injunction is in place, there's no reason for BlackRock to hold an ETF. Let's see here. I can't. How do I block people? There we go. All right. I have the fact checkers looking into BlackRock and Ondo. But I think a lot of that is speculation, but Ondo may be more set in stone than XRP. XRP and BlackRock ETF is 100% speculation right now. There's nothing. All right. Let's see here. I think that's pretty much it. And this kind of just confirms what I've been saying, but I don't really go off of the EMAs and all of that. I read the candles, and I get it. There is something to take into consideration, and these are all of these little arrows are indications of things that happen. SEC, Gary Gensler, Trump wins, announced re-election, RLUSD approved rumors, RLUSD approved, and Fed rate cut and projection, blah, 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 blah. All of these things. We all know what's been happening. We've been watching. And if you've been watching this show, you are on top of all these things, and we are covering them and getting the truth. And then right here it says SEC drops appeal. What a load of malarkey. That is not true. The indication that they put here, let me zoom in on this. This is some BS. This is why we do this show. It says SEC drops appeal. What a load of crap. Let's see here. I think I gotta zoom out more. SEC drops appeal. SEC didn't drop anything. Brad Garlinghouse said that they were gonna drop it. They didn't drop anything. That was all Brad Garlinghouse. And it was all moon cheese. None of it has been real. Even the US tariffs paused. Right here. There was no pause. There was no pause at all. But because of this fake news, it's continued to go up. And then SEC filed the settlement request, which was a letter that they proposed. Nothing has been official yet. The SEC may have filed a letter saying that they agree, but the judge has not ruled on it yet. And the judge is the one that decides whether or not the injunction can be lifted. The judge may rule on it and say, okay, but if they're paying a $50,000 or $50 million fine, that to me shows admission of guilt, which means they broke the law, which means the injunction may not be removed and institutions cannot buy XRP. No pause, and China left the meeting earlier within 20 minutes. I know. The news is all garbage. It's all garbage, fake news. They want Trump to look good, so they have to let the markets look good. And that's the only way it's going to do it. There's got to be rallies. There's got to be an upward turn from the downward sentiment we've been stuck in. Ondo is tied to BlackRock, though. I do have the fact checker looking on that right now. Let me double check with them and see if they've got that included yet. Sometimes the fact checkings take a little bit because the journalism team does dig through these to make sure and verify that we are putting out the right information. Let's see. Ondo Finance Utilities BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund as a core component of its tokenized treasury offerings. Ondo's short-term U.S. government treasuries token is backed by a large holder of BlackRock. So OUSG and BUIDL are BlackRock backed. Ondo itself is not backed. This allows OUSG to offer features like instant minting and redemption using stablecoins. Now, because Ondo is tied to it, I think Ondo will pump too. But the two coins that are actually tied to BlackRock are BUIDL and OUSG. And those do operate on Ondo, but the actual tie there are those two projects. So that is the facts. Man, I really like having the fact-checking stuff. It really just brought this whole show. All right, XRP news today. XRP rallies on Trump support amid legal turbulence and $360 million sell-off. XRP finds itself in the spotlight again following an unexpected endorsement from Donald Trump, who recently suggested that Ripple's native coin could serve as a strategic reserve currency. Trump's remarks posted on Truth Social hinted at XRP potentially rivaling the US dollar, a comment that ignited strong reactions across political and cryptocurrency circles. Trump's endorsements, okay, sources close to the endorsement incident says, sources close. Okay, I hate when they use that term, sources close. Sources close to the endorsement incident say Trump, okay? When they say sources close, it could be anybody. It could be the homeless guy that he walks by every day and gives him a nickel. Is a close source, technically. That's another fact check thing. We don't know who this source is. It's just someone that's close, okay? I don't know. I'm not, when I see that, immediately that raises red flags of, is this really true or not? Because anybody who could say that they're close could say this because they want to sway something one way or the another, or to have a story to even write. Okay? So keep that in mind. Sources close to endorsement incited say Trump may have been misinformed by advisors or pro-XRP influencers, prompting the token as a government-backed digital asset. This could be an example of how misinformation in the crypto space can sway powerful figures, said one analyst. The move stirred debate not only over XRP's suitability for such a role, but also over the growing influence of digital assets in the political discourse. Okay, so we do know that Trump did post on True Social XRP. He did state it, but their source in quotation says that it could be misinformation or whatever. I don't know. I don't think so. The horse's mouth told us, but we also have to understand that there's a possibility that the horse's mouth, the True Social account, Trump doesn't even manage it. I would say more than likely there's some assistant of an assistant of an assistant that runs that. You know, I literally have assistants that help me with some of my posts, my memes and things like that. And by the way, I am looking to hire somebody that does digital creation, digital design work. I'm looking to make logos and hats and t-shirts and memes and things like that. So if you're interested in filling that position, message me and we can work out something. OG Crypto, thank you for the tiny dino. J Infinity, thank you for the 2 Let 'em Cooks. And OG Crypto, thank you for the money gun. Much appreciated. Trump said the time he said XRP was going to be a reserve that he was scammed. I believe it. I believe that. And we're going to read more about that. Trump's announcement, XRP added to U.S. strategic reserve shockwaves across the market. 30 million XRP traded in just 1 minute. Trump's announcement adding XRP to the U.S. strategic reserve sends shockwaves through the crypto market. Obviously, we were all there. Even after partial settlement, Trump's support, while potentially bullish for XRP's value, has triggered regulatory concerns and may complicate Ripple's standing with compliance bodies. Despite the endorsement, XRP's price failed to sustain its upward movement or momentum over the weekend. On Sunday, May 11th, XRP dropped 2.7% to 241, underperforming the broader crypto market where Bitcoin and Solana saw notable gains. The XRP BTC ratio also slipped 3%, indicating waning institutional confidence. Or excuse me, indicating waning institutional confidence. XRP isn't going to do anything. I don't know. I think people are being force-fed a lot of moon cheese, and it will do things. It will pump and it will do this and that, but I do not think that it's going to be the end-all be-all like the proposal on the SEC website. That is literally just a proposal written by some random guy that he's proposing to the SEC, and the SEC has not commented on it once or even considered accepting it. It's just something some guy wrote. I could write the same thing and post it and try to get it on there. So nothing solid set in stone indicates anything of any sustenance here. I haven't seen one thing for XRP as far as the news comes out that has been real news. Even the tariff stuff is a 90-day pause. And this green candle right here, this was a 90-day pause that didn't even happen. It was supposed to be 90-day pause for all tariffs for every country. Wasn't true. There were still 10% tariffs on everything. And China still had 145%. Is it a pause from China too? Yes, it is a pause from China too. So I believe China will be paying a 30% tariff and we will be paying a 10% tariff. So that is where we're at. And during the Biden administration, we had like maybe a 7% tariff on them. Or excuse me, there's a 30% on us and I gotta double check that. Dang it. I believe it's in the news that we're about to read. Let me see here. Oh man. Let me see here. Let's see. 30% on China, 10% on the US. And it used to be like 7% on us, and I can't remember what the actual numbers were. I'll clarify that in another, probably in tomorrow's show. We'll clarify where we moved from. But it was only a few. It's only a few percentage different than what it was during the Biden administration. However, the Biden administration did not enforce it at all. So now that we've had this whole back and forth, we're actually enforcing the tariffs on China. So did we really win? No, we're kind of back to where we were during the Biden administration as of right now for this 90-day pause thing. However, they're actually being enforced. So that's the difference, is things are basically back to what they were for 90 days, but they're actually being enforced. But nothing really has changed. Nothing's really changed. Let's take a look at this video. Let's give it a little gander here.
Off the top for the Trump administration, a trade deal has been reached with China after negotiations over the weekend in Geneva. Here's President Trump's trade rep, Jameson Greer, outlining the agreement.
We come to agreement that that our reciprocal tariff rate will go down to 10% on the United States side, so it goes down 115%. We enter into a 90-day pause period for negotiations, which both the Chinese and the United States are very committed to. And the Chinese on their side also go down 115% to 10%, and they remove the countermeasures that they have in place.
And here's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent sitting alongside Greer, who took part in the negotiations this weekend in Geneva.
Neither side wants a decoupling. And what had occurred with these very high tariffs, as Ambassador Greer said, was the equivalent of an embargo, and neither side wants that. We do want trade. We want more balanced trade, and I think that both sides are committed to achieving that.
All right. So we got a 90-day pause-ish. Will China uphold their end of the deal? I don't know. During the Biden administration, they did not. So we'll see. I think they know that Trump means business, and they probably don't want to get hit with, a 200% tariff again. So I would say they're somewhat playing ball, but there is no agreement. There is no actual agreement. The U.S. and Canada announced on Monday that tariffs against one another will be reduced for a 90-day period after officials held trade negotiations in Geneva, Switzerland. The tariffs President Donald Trump announced against China on April 2nd are being cut by 24 percentage points for this temporary period, while retaining and remaining aid valorem rate of 10% from that announcement, according to a joint statement. China agreed to the same stipulation, according that it will adopt all necessary administrative measures to suspend or remove the non-tariff countermeasures taken against the United States since April 2nd, the announcement stated. But this is only a 90-day pause for negotiations. But, we'll see. These discussions may be continued alternately in China and the United States on the third country upon the parties as required. Blah blah blah. None of that matters. The main thing to get from this is it's still moon cheese. Nothing is set in stone. Even the UK agreement. The UK agreement is still nothing. There is no agreement. It's all speculation. So we're gonna have to ride this one out a little bit. What's up, Lexus Mom? Haven't seen you in a while. All right, next news article. Let's see here. Let the ads play. We don't get free news here. No free ads.
Cooled off for now, and the most heated trade war in decades has cooled off for now, and Wall Street loves it, posting big gains today. The U.S. had been slapping fresh 145% tariffs on products coming into the country from China. China responded with 125% tariffs on incoming American items. This morning, we learned for 90 days, those tariffs are on hold as the two sides hammer out new deals. No Illinois industry does more business with China than agriculture. But as Chris Ty found out, today's tariffs trim isn't doing much to calm the concerns of Illinois farmers.
We are nearing the end of what's called planting season here in soybean country, like here in Marengo. And while today's news on the tariffs is having positive effects on Wall Street, around here, not so much.
We have to deal with Mother Nature. We have to deal with the markets. We have plenty of things that are out of our control.
For over 180 years, the Bartman family has navigated that uncertainty, delivering corn and wheat and soybean to the world. But this latest round of uncertainty strikes different.
This is a man-made problem, and this is something that can be fixed. This is bad governmental policy that's affecting farmers.
The effect on farmer John Bartman is a fresh mentality of simply get through the season.
100% of the soybeans that I grow are exported
To
Asia, and a lot of it goes to China. And so that's a major hurdle for us. If we lose that market, we're really going to be hurting.
Are you on the cusp of losing it?
Well, I think we are.
Illinois farmers sell nearly $1.5 billion worth of product to China every year. No other industry comes close, a number that soared in the last decade. But farmers are entering a challenging period as competition from Brazil and Russia intensifies.
Now there's
the fact that the
competition.
tariffs are coming down. Does that make it
Supposedly.
supposedly? Does that make it more
Supposedly
likely that
coming
you can
down.
remain a player in the game with China?
You'd like to think so.
We hope that the talks continue and that they become fruitful, and that, you know, we can continue to sell our products around the world. And
Todd Main represents the Illinois Soybean Association, whose members are watching these talks with their largest trading partner carefully.
so I think we're going to have to take a wait and see. Yes, we want to be optimistic. Yes, we want to have it be successful. But at the same time, you know, we have to sort of trust but verify.
For
Trust
those that
but
know
verify.
land, trust on this matter
We
is
need
a
to
slow
trust
grow.
but verify.
I'm not optimistic right now at all, honestly. This is a season
We're
you just want
hoping.
to make it through. That's the joys of farming, right?
Nothing
There's
is
always-
set in
well,
stone.
The joys of farming, there's always next year.
In Marengo, Chris Ty, CBS News, Chicago.
All right.
Looking for when they go downtown.
A lot of the neighborhoods that we grew up in are.
All right. And let's watch this one. So basically the sentiment is, and we all know it, that these are all speculative talks. Okay? They're 90-day pauses. Nothing has been agreed upon. Nothing is set in stone. Let's watch a little bit more here.
CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman has the very latest. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Kelly, thanks. Yeah, futures markets quickly priced out a summer Fed rate cut after the U.S. deal with China for a 90-day pause from the most extreme tariffs. Markets pushed ahead the first cuts of the fall, now see just 2 cuts this year. Meanwhile, comments from a Fed governor suggest the economy, at least in her opinion, is not completely out of the tariff woods just yet. So the probability of the first cut coming in July has fallen to 42% from 69% on Friday. September now priced with an 82% probability of that first cut. A second cut now in October, just barely priced in, maybe a little bit towards the 60% weight, with more confidence in December. And the third cut in December is now priced out. Markets clearly bet that the Fed would meet the stagflation threat by ignoring inflation.
The sentiment for the rate cuts is dropping daily. Every single day that goes by, people are waking up to the idea that rate cuts are not coming. And I've been telling you this. I've been screaming it from the mountaintops. Everyone's been like, no, man, they're going to lower rates in May. No, they're going to do it in July. No, they're going to do it in October. It's not happening in July. I can tell you that right now. Maybe in October, but probably not. There's no reason for the Fed to do it. And with all this tariff uncertainty, inflation is through the roof. There is no indication whatsoever that rate cuts are coming. So keep that in mind as well. And don't forget, if you're watching on TikTok, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. And don't forget, we are also on Twitch, but make sure you are hitting that like button or sending those gifts. I need some Let 'em Cooks. I need 8 Let 'em Cooks. Help me out. Help me reach my goal here. And also, remember, if you want me to look at a project for you, all you got to do is come over to Twitch and it's free, or become a subscriber on TikTok and I will be more than happy to do that for you. And don't forget, as a subscriber, you get access to my daily price point videos. I tell you where the market is going every single day. It changes. Some days it's going up, some days it's going down. It fluctuates, and we have been nailing it to the cent. Within cents, we are there every single day. Every single day. And I give you a broad number, and I always tell you this with my price points. Be conservative. Whatever the number is, drop it a few cents. Okay? Try to catch the middle here. Don't try to catch every tip and every bottom and catch every wick. But when we're catching those middle candles is when we're doing well. What's up, TikTok seller? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And don't forget, smash that like button, guys. We're only at 2K likes. Those are rookie numbers. We need to bump those numbers up. We have been failing at the likes lately. We really need you guys to help out, help keep this show alive by hitting that like button on TikTok. And by those of you who are on Twitch, thank you for your support by coming here. This is our safe space from when we get hit with the guidelines, because you all know that we get hit with the guidelines. TikTok seller, I see you on TikTok, smashing that like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate you very much, my friend. And don't forget, if you want to support the show, send in your donations. Thank you, TikTok seller, for your weekend donation. If you do message me on the weekends, remember I am off on the weekends, but if you need coaching on the weekends or help or answers to questions, I'm still going to help you out, but it's on a donation basis. So TikTok seller, thank you for that donation you sent. I'm much appreciated. I don't mind helping out, but I have to put some kind of a limit so that I can get somewhat of a day off. But if you need that coaching or you need that validation or whatever it is you need on the weekend, I will still answer those questions. But please send a donation if you're going to do so. So that way it allows me to have some free time. I did get many messages on Mother's Day, and I'm trying to do things and have time with my family as well. So, but I do take time out of my life and away from my family. So I do appreciate when you guys donate. It does help support the show. Mind you, we have a staff here. We have an IT guy that does all the technical stuff here. And I could be doing all this. I could be doing it. However, I have so much on my plate. I'm reading the charts like 20 hours a day. I'm going over the charts. I'm going over the news. I'm building in the studio, dealing with the construction crew and the IT guy and management between all these different departments that we have now. So it's a lot for me to take on. So having people here to help support the show makes it a great show, having the fact checkers, having the journalists. And I'm also going to be doing the street interviews soon. We've already begun filming for the street interviews. And that's probably going to be a separate show that's going to be YouTube exclusive. So go find me on YouTube. That's Oz the Crypto Goat. And don't forget, all of these lives are recorded and posted to YouTube every single day right after the show. So as soon as they're uploaded, if you missed the show, you can always go back and watch and see what you missed. Because I understand other people have different schedules and different things they have to adhere to. So you can't always make the live show, but you can always watch the show after. So those are on YouTube. That's Oz the Crypto Goat. And don't forget, those of you that are on TikTok, we are on Twitch as well. And that is our safe space that allows us to mitigate between TikTok, because TikTok has been quite a hassle. Every single live, I'm filling out minimum 9 appeals every live. It's become a headache, and we will be leaving TikTok eventually. My trading view is frozen. No, it's not. It's working. I just we're talking right now. We're taking a little intermission for me to talk, but thank you, Zonked. I appreciate it. But we're still going here. As you can see, my indicators moving around here. And if you don't see the motion of the cursor, then please let me know and I will figure out why it's frozen. But I believe it is working. We're just taking a minute. But don't forget, if you missed the show, they're all recorded and available on YouTube at Oz the Crypto Goat. The XRP price is at 248. That's where the cursor's at. It should not be frozen. The price should say 248. On my end, it says 248. So, I believe it's good. But thank you for pointing that out to me, Zonked. We have been having some internet issues. The hard lines for the internet have not been run yet to the studio. And I'm hoping to have that done by tomorrow. So we will be connected to Ethernet. We are in a Faraday cage. This studio is a giant Faraday cage. And so the signal can be a much different price from XRP USDT. Yeah, USDT, I do not use USDT. Tether, we stay away from Tether. If you know anything about what's going on with Tether and Bitcoin, you would stay away from the Tether network as well. So do not use Tether. Not financial advice, but I do not use Tether. I stay away from anything that has to do with Tether, because there is a scandal going on right now with Tether and Bitcoin, and Tether is through China, and it is linked to massive inflation. There's a whole story about it. If you are a subscriber on TikTok, I do have that information and videos posted so that you can go and read about that and understand what's going on. I'll probably cover that again soon, but we've covered it several times, what's going on with Tether and Bitcoin. And once we get regulation, I guarantee you with regulation will come investigation. Okay, and with investigation will come the fall of Tether and Bitcoin. But for now, Bitcoin reigns king. But I don't think it'll be for long. But thank you, Zonk. I appreciate you very much. And look, we learned something today, didn't we? That's awesome. And I encourage you to go and look into those videos. Okay, I missed that info. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Definitely go check out those videos. And if you are watching and you don't know what I'm talking about, post it in my videos in TikTok. You're probably going to have to look for it because it's from about a month or so ago. I did post an article about the scandal, what's going on with Tethercoin. And then on one of the lives, we did a deep dive. So you can go to YouTube and you can look for the past live that aired and watch that video and find out more about that. But I believe we will deep dive that one again because I think that is probably the most important thing that people need to know in crypto right now and understand, because a lot of people are Bitcoin maxis and they're all on Tether network, and one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day it is going to be a problem and it will bite you in the butt. It will come back to bite you. So be informed. Watch the show because we fact check and deep dive into all of these issues because we are in the Wild West. Crypto is the Wild West, and there are lots of scams, lots of snake oil out there. So don't get sold a false bill of goods. Watch the Goats show here at the Ledger Lounge with Oz the Crypto Goat, and I will deep dive into all those issues for you. And if there is a question you have and you want me to deep dive into something, go right ahead and let me know, and I will have my fact checker team look into it. And if it's a bigger story, I will write a piece on it. All right, so let's get back to the news here.
Addressing the weaker growth side. The Fed last week threw some cold water on that, saying risks to both higher inflation and unemployment had increased. Well, the risks to both would now seem to be lower, though they have not yet disappeared. Adriana Kugler, Fed governor, said at an event this morning that even at current tariff levels, the economic effects will remain significant from the tariffs. There could be some permanent tariff inflation effects that she's concerned about, but hard to judge the pace of U.S. economic growth because of the impact of front-running of tariffs and the decline in expectations. Policy, she says right now, however, is well positioned to deal with either eventuality. Despite the agreement, some tariff-related price increases will still hit the economy. 30% tariffs on China, still pretty high, and uncertainty now extends 90 days out. But clearly, recession odds have declined. They're lower now, and it would seem the possibility, this could be key, of lower tariffs on other trading partners have increased. Kelly?
Do you have a feeling, Steve, of how all this now is shaking out in terms of, as we hear from Fed officials and so forth? Is it a coast is clear kind of signal for the economy, or are people still mired in confusion and concern about, what exactly is going to happen on the tariff and trade front?
Before we find out what this guy has to say, what do you guys think? How do you feel? Do you feel like the economy is turning around and things are going to get better and the prices are going to go down? Where do you guys stand in all of this? Because honestly, I don't think anything's going to come down. We had price hikes from COVID, and the economy turned around and changed and got better, and the prices never came down. We literally got one shipment from China since the tariffs have been put into place, and those items are about to hit the shelves. And they will have that new pricing on there. So just because there's a 90-day pause right now does not mean that the prices aren't going to start going up. This is a delayed reaction type thing here. Tell me, does anyone feel like the economy is just about to turn around and get better? Because I don't know. I'm not there yet. TikTok seller says, nope. No, this is just the beginning. What's that noise? That is TikTok Studio being ridiculous. I am not a fan of TikTok. I wish I could use OBS. TikTok has my stream keys locked, so I can't even use OBS. Hi, AV, how are you? I'm bullish on our economy, smoke and mirrors. I think long-term bullish, short-term not so much. I think in the next year or so, things could turn around and get better. But we haven't even felt what's going to happen because of these tariffs yet. We're going to start feeling it in the upcoming weeks and months. It's going to, that sting that Donald Trump was talking about, we haven't even felt it yet. We felt it in the markets, but we have not felt it on the shelves. We have not felt it at the pumps. And that's why I'm getting out into the field, and I'm going to start reporting on this and interviewing people. And I'm going to be doing it throughout the next month or so and watch how the sentiment is going to change. I don't think the economy is as bad as people think. People are still buying at inflated prices. The inflated prices haven't even hit yet, Neo. The inflated goods that just came off the ships from China haven't hit the shelves yet. We're still buying new old stock. So once those new items hit the shelf, that's when things are going to change. That's when the prices are actually going to go up. I think they've only gone up a little bit so that way when those new things hit the shelf, it doesn't seem as crazy. Oh, we keep getting disconnected. Let me get the IT guy. I believe he's here. All right. We've been dropping like crazy. I'm going to see if I can get the IT guy to run a hard line. I don't even know where that equipment is yet. We're still building the studio. Still building the studio, so it's not 100% set up as the Crypto Goat S. Are we back? Are you guys here? Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? Do you see the show? All right, Guinea Marie's here. Okay, so we're good on Twitch, but I don't know about TikTok. It says that we're disconnected. So if anyone's watching on TikTok, chime in and let me know that you're seeing the live right now. Somebody let me know. We have been having a lot of issues since we moved into the new studio here. We're not ready for it. However, a lot of this equipment that's being moved in here had to go in, and the fourth wall is being built right now. It's being built into the studio. So once it's in here, it will not be able to leave unless we take the wall down. So we had to do things in backwards kind of operation because the door is much smaller. Hey, do you happen to know where the Ethernet wire is, and can you run a hard line from the router into here? And do we have to change any settings or stuff? Because I keep dropping the live in the middle of the show on both platforms. I think it might be in this drawer. It's a brand new spool. I just came in. I don't know where it is. You might have to look around for it. It's somewhere with like all the, I don't know where it is. Agreed. I think things are worse than they're saying to prevent massive panic. I think you're right. And what they're going to do is they're going to slowly, by the way, mind the audio, the IT guy is working while we're doing the live, so I do apologize. Look around, look in the backpack there with It should be here in the studio. I don't see why I would have moved it elsewhere. It could be in one of these boxes underneath the desk. So yeah, I think they're incrementally going to change things slowly over time, and it's going to be one of those things. Actually, let me see if it's in here. Things are going to change slowly over time, little bit by little bit. They're going to raise it up just a bit. Sorry, I apologize. I'm a little distracted right now. All right, we're back. Okay, so like I said, the tariff goods that we've bought that actually have, and that China has sent here and from other countries as well, have not hit the shelves yet. The boats just hit the port on Thursday. I think it was Thursday. The first shipment got here. They have not even made it to the shelves yet. They're sitting in the warehouses right now. They're moving across the country. Okay? Those priced goods haven't even been sold yet. Keep that in mind. If people pay, don't go up, then the prices go up so much. Sooner or later, people will max out credit. I think people are maxing out credit now. I know lots of people are maxing out credit right now. And it's out of control. I'm going to play this video for a moment, and I'm going to give the IT guy a hand real quick. And so let's just watch this. It's a couple minutes, and then we'll be right back, okay? But definitely watch it. What is causing the current inflation that Powell is trying to get under control? That's a good question. Okay, so 3/4 of the inflation in this country comes from the way banks lend money. Okay, so if you put $100 into the bank can now lend out $90 of that $100. Okay, but if you take that money and you take a loan out on it, right? Obviously $100, say $100,000. Okay, so $90,000 the bank can lend off that $100,000 that's in the bank, and you take out a loan against that $90,000, or excuse me, $100,000, and then you go and you buy a car, or you buy a this, or you buy that, right? Perfect. Once you buy that, then that person that you bought it from, or company or whatever, takes that money and puts it back in the bank. And so then your $100,000 is in the bank, and then the $90,000 that they loaned to you, you spent with someone else. They put it back into the bank. Now the bank can lend off of 90% of that 190,000, and so on and so forth. And that's compounded over and over and over again by all kinds of different people over and over. That's where the real inflation comes from. 3/4 of the US's inflation comes from that. The other third, or excuse me, 2/3 of the US's inflation. So 2/3 comes that way. The other third comes from the printing of money that we send to Ukraine and Israel and all these other different places. Zizix, thank you for the heart me, and Censored by TikTok, thank you for the 2 Let 'em cooks, much appreciated. The result is it all tumbles down. I mean, not necessarily, but I do think we're going to see higher prices. And I think they're feeding people the moon cheese and helping prop up the markets. so that everybody thinks, oh, it's all fine and dandy. The house is on fire, but the people are sitting in the living room watching the TV saying it's okay because it's just the kitchen on fire. Just the kitchen's on fire. I don't need to do anything because I'm in the living room. That's what's happening. I guess we have to wait. People cannot afford to live now, increase prices. So how do they credit? And that's the only difference between now and the Great Depression. We're actually in a worse position as far as like price for things. Make sure the cables ran under the blue portion and it's not pinched into the door. And so, sorry about that. So, during the Great Depression, things were so bad because people had no access to credit. Now people have all the access to credit. They can get into credit debt up to their ears. Done here?
It's done.
Give me a moment. Oh, it's done?
Yeah, it instantly does it. Your stream went off and back on.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Everyone, give a round of applause to the IT guy. He just fixed our connectivity issues temporarily. We are hardlined in. Yay. So we shouldn't drop the live anymore. Hopefully. But that's the main issue, is that we are... Isaacs, thank you. Round of applause for our IT guy, Jordan. He does wonders here. He is basically here every day from 5 to 10 p.m. So he is here during the live to make sure in case anything happens, and then an hour after the show to upload everything and check the computers, update things. He once a week dusts and vacuums all the equipment and everything. Really, really great young man. What the hell is XRP doing? It's just a liquidity coin. I agree. It's XRP gets its value from people that hold on to it. They buy it and they hold it. That's where it gets its value. It doesn't get its value from its purpose because liquidity flows through it. It's like trying to fill up a bucket that has no bottom. Yes, they do dump on their holders every month. And that's something we call out. However, what is the price is what someone is willing to pay for it. And people are fed the moon cheese. Do I think XRP will do crazy numbers? $10,000? No. But I think we could see 5 or 10 by 2030. Mr. Zen says, but they have a mad following, borderline cultists. I mean, every coin has their maxis. You know, they have their cult-like following, whether it be XRP or Bitcoin or Shiba Inu or whatever it is. They all have their XRP army, Shiba army. That's just how it goes. And they're, you know, people who believe in what they're holding. And I get it. I believe that XRP is going to have a bright future. I also believe it's not going to be the end all be all to the financial system. I think it's going to be more of an ecosystem, and all these different coins and platforms are going to play its role. Unfortunately, prices won't go down unless the economy crashes. I think you're right. I think you are right. And I mean, I don't think they're going to allow the economy to crash. What they're going to do is normalize the prices. You know, even with gasoline, we've become normalized to paying, you know, $5-6 a gallon here in California. And any other state, people are just like, that's crazy. People are paying $2 a gallon in other states. We're still paying $5 and $6. And that's what happens is people get numb to the idea, and all it has to come down is 10 or 20 cents, and they feel like, oh, it's getting better. And that's what's happening. Frogs in a pot being slowly boiled, cooked. Everyone's getting slowly cooked. If you boil a pot of water and you throw a frog in it, it's going to leap out. But if you put cold water in there and you put the frog in there, you slowly turn up the heat, eventually the frog will get cooked. And that's why every time we're about to get bad news, right before it happens, something crazy comes out. Gavonomics, yeah. I mean, I don't totally hate Gavin Newsom. I think he does a lot of good things here with this state. The only real thing that I have against him is he killed like hundreds of thousands of people. During COVID, they had facilities to send sick people to. They had special facilities, but because they were set up for or by the federal government under Donald Trump, they refused to use it, and he's not the only governor that did this. They refused to use those facilities, and they put sick people in nursing homes and killed people. Unalived them, excuse me. I gotta change the subject, though. I don't want to get guidelines. But it's true. Look it up. Look it up. A mass unaliver, all because he didn't want to do and go along with Trump. And I believe Chicago and New York and other state, Wisconsin, I believe, I got to fact check all those, but there were many states that did the exact same thing, and they unalived a lot of people. If you took the jab, you would take. Wait, if you took the jab, you would take elsewhere. No hate for the rainbow community. I don't understand what you mean by that. And I love the rainbow community, by the way. I love everybody. And what you decide to do with your own time, that's all on you. Mr. Zines, thank you for the 200 TikToks. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. What does not make sense? Kitty Marie, what does not make sense? Mr. Zines, what were you saying there? If you took the jab, you would take elsewhere. No hate for the rainbow community. What do you mean by that? There's a bunch of people on Twitch that are wondering what you're talking about. Read between the lines. Don't want to get banned. Got you. Got you. I get what you're saying. I'm not going to say it either. I know what you're saying, but I'm not going to say it either because of guidelines. But yeah, I love the rainbow community. I love everybody. I love everybody. What you do in your free time and who you find attractive, that's up to you. Who am I to say anything about that? That's between you and your creator. Who am I or the government to come in and regulate anything like that? Yeah, we have free will for a reason. You do you, bro. I do not care. And I don't think the government has any place legislating any of that stuff. Gamery, I am on TikTok as well, so we can't talk about that. But however, save that because I will probably cut TikTok a little bit early and we'll do a secondary part of the show for Twitch so that we can talk about whatever we want. I think I'm going to start doing that. We're going to do the show in the last 30 minutes. We're just going to do like back and forth talking on Twitch only so that we can say all the things that we want to say. But traders can't be controlled or canceled. I like you, Mr. Zines. And don't forget, Mr. Zines, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. That goes for everybody, but especially you, Mr. Zines. Become a subscriber, join our community here, and get access to our daily price point videos. You can message me directly, and I can help you and coach you with your trading, whatever project it may be. I get you're not really into XRP. I look into a vast amount of different cryptos. I focus on XRP, one, because of the moon cheese these people are being fed, and two, I think it stands out. It stands out, and something about it calls to me, and I think it has potential for something. But everything is speculation with it right now. And I think that that's why I cover it so much. It's important that people are not misinformed about this stuff. XRP under 246. So is it just going to keep dropping? I don't know. I think we'll hit the blue line here. Let's take a look. I think we'll hit the blue line, which is at about 247. And if 247, 250 becomes resistance, or excuse me, support, then we're looking good. But we could break all the way down to 235 and still be, I would say 235 is really conservative. 237 to 235-ish. And still be on the top of this trend line here and have the potential to bounce up and go higher. Or we come down here and we consolidate a little bit, and then if we drop, oh, that's a nasty head and shoulders. A nasty head and shoulders. Hold on, it's not letting me draw. If this thing turns into a head and shoulders, this is going to be such a nasty drop, and it will trigger a massive sell-off. And it lines up with our X right here. Okay, so let's say we drop down. Oh man, it's really falling. It's really falling. Let's say it drops down here and then it recovers and it pumps back up and all the way to 260 again, or maybe even just 255-ish. That could be a head and shoulders. I'm good when it comes to trading, bro. No worries. But I will share your profile with my people. Definitely appreciate you. And that's the best way that you can help the show. Mr. Zines, thank you for the 200 TikToks plus another 94. Thank you very much. No one's expecting that ABC macro correction. I agree. And I don't understand why they don't see it. It's a bull trap. As of right now, it's a bull trap still. But don't forget, share this show with your friends, share it with your community, share it with your family, share it with your coworkers, your friends. That's how this show grows. It's basically word of mouth because the algorithm does not promote this show. They do not like what we say here. Like I said, I fill out about 9 appeals minimum per live. So that's 9 times 5. What's that number? 42? Is Ethereum printing a double bottom? Let's take a look at ETH. Bro, I'm feeling Ethereum, by the way. I think Ethereum has got potential now. Do I think it's going to be as good as what people say? No, but if Bitcoin dominance breaks, oh man, Ethereum is going to do everything that it's been waiting to do. On the 1 hour, first of all, let's look at the 1 day. The 1 day is an inverted head and shoulders. Let me redraw that. 1 day here. You got your shoulder, your head, your shoulder. Boom. So that's played out. So we need a little bit more data on the 1 day to really know. But let's look at the hour, and this would be, the hour would be an indication over the next couple days. And I would say that there is a potential. There's a potential for a double bottom right here. At about 24,000. 24 and some change, maybe even higher. Maybe it just holds at 24.30 and double bottoms. But if it does, the double bottom would be completed at about 25.50, 25.60. Not really, bro. You're forcing the head and shoulders, but descending wedge, yeah. Well, the reason I say that head and shoulders, let's go look at that. The reason why I say that, okay, is it's a little bit off. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But look at this. I would call a head and shoulders because we had this drop right here into a bear flag. Okay, see this bear flag right here, but we pumped instead, and then we consolidated. So I'm allowing it as a head and shoulders because of this consolidation, drop, breaking of a bear trend, and a consolidation, and then another pump. So that's why I'm going to call, I wouldn't say it's textbook, but if you look, it resembles XLM. XLM is definitely a head and shoulders. Do you see it? And that's why I would say XLM still got more in it. Just when you was about to explain. Oh, I know. So XLM, you know, I don't know what's going on. I may need to move the dish for the Starlink or reboot it. I think that's what needs to happen. I think I need to reboot the Starlink. So I got to remind the IT guy to add that to his list to do that every couple days or so. So Ethereum is kind of a head and shoulders because we have a drop, we have a bit of a consolidation, but a rise and then a fall. We had a bearish pattern break upward into consolidation and then a pump. That's why I'm calling it head and shoulders. It's not textbook, but it does resemble XLM right now in the same similar time frame. They're not moving in unison, but they're similar. No way you're using Starlink. Oh, I am. I actually have multiple Starlinks out here. I have an airport in the middle of nowhere. And so we had to build a special studio for the show just to keep the sound of the airplanes. Everyone who used to watch the show, it was just like airplanes taking off. And so like we had to build this studio. I've never analyzed XLM, but wow. Yeah, XLM's got a little bit more. Everything's kind of moving in unison. The only one that doesn't look similar to anything else is XRP. That's why I watch it and cover it so much, because it is like the only patterns that look different. But even XRP now, I would say, kind of did a head and shoulders, but man, it has way more consolidation through it. This is possibly, and that would send it to $3. If this is a head and shoulders, I wouldn't really, I don't know. This is possibly an inverted head and shoulders, but it's definitely not textbook. Yeah, XRP does its own thing. And that's why I cover it in the show, and it's our main focus, because it's probably the hardest one to call out of all of them. And so I guess maybe I'm flexing my skills a little bit by doing XRP, but I think XRP is going to double bottom right here. And XRP would, if Ethereum is about to double bottom on the 1 hour, it looks kind of similar. We have Ethereum, we have XRP. Ethereum, XRP. Let me zoom into XRP a little bit more. Show you. They look pretty similar to me. But the question with Ethereum is this a double top and it's about to come crashing down? Or is this a double bottom and it's hitting consolidation? It's the most difficult asset to trade, Bo. Let's be real. Definitely. Let's see here. XRP is dropping now. Oh shoot. I've been chatting with Mr. Zine so much on TikTok. I've been missing out on the chat on Twitch. I do apologize. It is hard to read both of them at the same time. XRP is dropping now. Oh, you guys are just messing with each other. They're talking to each other here. I don't think it's going to be a double bottom. I think it wants to blow past it. I think it's a double top. And if it lands here at 23, it could head and shoulders. This could be a head and shoulders possibly. I don't know. That's not textbook, that's for sure. But that's a double top. I think it's more like, this is more macro and this is more micro. I would say it's more likely that this double top plays out than this double bottom. Even Brad said, don't trade it, hold it. I know. It's blasting through trend lines. Bullish pennant flag on what? Ethereum? I don't think so. There's not enough data yet. I'd say the bottom lines have a bit of a trend here. But the top, I'd say it's more of a broadening wedge on a downward trend, which would indicate an upward movement. So it would come down here, do something like that. I could see that. Ignore the wicks. Nah, bro, we catch wicks over here. We catch wicks by doing the wicks, yo. I've been accurate to the cent. I know they're liquidity grabs. However, I predicted XRP to drop to 161, and we adjusted that to 163 to make sure that it hit. But 3 months ago, I called this, and a lot of the people that watch the show caught this wick because of the way I trade. So we are the most accurate within the cent. And so we're putting in limit orders for our trades, so they're hitting. Do you have a chain link price target? Yeah, if you want to do chain link, go ahead and become a subscriber, or you can jump on over to Twitch and put it in the Twitch chat and I'll do it for free. So that's Oz the Crypto Goat on Twitch, or just become a subscriber and I'd be more than happy to do link for you. But we did do link a little bit ago. Matt Hendricks says XRP, please. What would you like to know about XRP? What it's going to do? I think we're amidst a price correction, and I think I'm seeing a similar trend here. This is an ascending, broadening wedge, which would indicate a drop down. Where do I think it's heading? Short term, long term, what time frame? 1 hour or 1 day chart. The 1 hour chart would indicate in the next couple days. The 1 day chart would indicate in the next couple weeks. Short term? Short term, so it would be the 1 hour. That is a good question. Let's plot it out here. I'm gonna remove the wicks for Mr. Zine just to humor him. So that is a descending wedge, which is generally bearish. However, this is a difficult one. It's so difficult with XRP. I think it's going to come back up to the blue line here, or it's going to touch down to this blue line here. I'd say probably 237 in the next couple days, or it's done dropping and it's going to consolidate at 247. Let's see. Do you have Chainlink price target? I don't have Twitch. First time I've ever seen you. Just want to answer how do if I want to sub. Just click on the, I want to say it's the top. It's like a star with a circle around it to become a subscriber. But we do get hit with guidelines a lot because we tell the truth on this show. So we're on Twitch, so that way we can mitigate getting hit with the guidelines, because sometimes I can't stream for like a week. So come over to Twitch, so just in case, so you can get on the show. That's why I offer it for free for anyone that comes over to Twitch, so that way you don't miss. But if you want to subscribe, there is a star with like a little circle around it. I want to say it's either the top left or bottom left little star icon. Let me see. I think I can highlight it here. I think what you can do is also click the follow goal at the top. That may take you to it as well. All right, Matt Hendricks, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. A lot of, if you want me to look at Sui, you got to become a subscriber or come on over to Twitch and I'll do it for free. That's Oz the Crypto Goat on Twitch, or subscribe. I got stuck with ads for the next 2 minutes, so I can't hear if you replied to this last message. No, I didn't. I did not answer it yet, so I'll do it now. Perfect, because I got caught up answering other questions. Mr. Goat, how are you, friend? Juan, how are you doing, brother? Hold on, I'm getting a lot of... Bear with me, Matt. All right, Matt is back. All right. So, Matt, short term, it's going to be somewhere between these two blue lines. Long term, it is hard to say right now. We are at a pivotal point where we could follow this blue line trend and break upward to $3, and from there much higher, anywhere as high as like $8 or $10 is possible, but unlikely. I would say probably around $4 or $5 if we break into this and hold this over the next 2 months. But X marks the spot. Okay, this right here is Wednesday, May 21st. Okay, if we break down here and follow this trend, or fall back into this box, or break into this box, or break below here, then we're looking at a hard crash all the way down to, I'd say, anywhere from 155 to 125. Very unlikely if it hits $5, it will dump so fast you'll lose your hairline. Yeah, I think you're right. I think 480 would probably be its max. I think even $3. I'm thinking if it does, it's going to have a hard time breaking $3. It's just another one of those psychological. Even the all-time high of 340 is going to be just really hard to break. There's a lot of people that bought at 340 and they're like, you know what? If I can just get out up there, I'll be happy. So XRP, Matt Hendricks, I would say definitely keep watching the show. However, I would say this is your trend line right here. And what this is the same thing that XLM is doing. Okay? I think it's got, just like XLM, they move together in unison. I think it's got another pump up and then down. Or it's already done. Look at XLM's already breaking out of this structure. This could be more. XLM could be done already. Giddy Marie, if you're watching this, XRP or XLM may have broken support and could be on its way down. I hope you're watching right now because we've been wanting to watch this. I know you are, buddy, and I appreciate you. You've been watching for a while. You're one of my I wouldn't say my first, but you're definitely in the group of the first people. You've been around for a while. But I think XRP is kind of showing something similar to XLM. And if XLM breaks downward here and doesn't recover back above this blue line, I would definitely say that XRP is in for the X right here. So X marks the spot. Right? I would say by the end of the day, we could be all the way down here to 240, maybe even lower. So we'll have to watch it. There's just not enough data yet. All this pumping and what we're getting is a price correction. And mind you, we're getting a price correction from this pump here all the way to down here. All right. So the price correction goes all the way back down to 205-ish to 210-ish. And usually in a price correction, you lose about 50%. That would put it at about 230-ish, 233. However, mind you, we've been pumping from 161 up to 264 without any price correction, really. We had a little bit, and if we were to get 50%, that would put us back down to 210, which would drop us below this line, and that would indicate moving back downward. Mr. Zines, thank you for the live likes. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. Mr. Zines, thank you for... Wow. Mr. Zines. There's 327 TikToks from Mr. Zines. Thank you very much. Matt Hendricks says, I gotta get going to bed. I'll catch it later. I appreciate you. Hey, Matt Hendricks, don't forget, I record all the lives and they are posted to YouTube. So you can find me on YouTube. That's Oz the Crypto Goat. And you can watch all of these lives if you miss them. And don't forget to, hit the like button. Become a subscriber on YouTube as well. It's free to subscribe on YouTube. And you'll get the notifications for all those videos and watch them. Let's see here. Let's go over the news. We got some more news to cover. It's only about 7:30 though. We got a little sidetracked. But Fed rate cuts hammered by U.S.-China tariff truce. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said last week he needed further clarity on tariffs before moving on interest rates. The Federal Reserve might have found the time it needs to determine the impact of President Donald Trump's tariff strategy on the world's biggest economy following a pulse in reciprocal levies between the U.S. and China that could settle global trade tensions. Traders are now betting that the Fed won't lower its benchmark lending rate, pegging at 4.375% until at least September of the weekend agreement between Washington and Beijing tariff cuts on China-made goods to around 30% and levies on the U.S. exports to 10%. So the Fed is not going to cut rates. I'll subscribe to you just out of love, bro. I like your energy and your honesty. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to give you any moon cheese. Gnarl Kill, thank you for the rose. Much appreciated. Thank you for the rose. And, I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to spoon feed you some moon cheese and tell you that everything's going to be okay. Just go back to sleep and everything will be fine. I'm here to give it to you straight. I'm here to fact check this stuff. We are basically here. We have fact checkers on site. We have a whole staff. And I have journalists that are going through the news, and I'm also going to be doing street interviews soon. That'll all be on YouTube. What's the greatest investment due to tariffs lifted? I mean, that's hard to say. The greatest investment. Opinion on Pengu, become a subscriber and I will do a technical analysis for you on Pengu, or you can come on over to Twitch and write it in the chat and I'll do it for free. We do get hit with guidelines a lot here because we tell the truth. So we have Twitch as our backup space because we get removed sometimes weeks at a time. So if you come on over to Twitch, then you will get it for free. And make sure when you sign up on Twitch, you enable notifications so that way you know when I go live, because TikTok will not tell you. TikTok will only do what the algorithm thinks you want. And that's why we also, for those of you who are subscribers and you want access to those daily price point videos, I'm posting the prices of the where I think things are headed every day. I'm telling you what the patterns are forming for XRP daily, and you're getting that information. However, a lot of people are not receiving those notifications from TikTok in time. So we have the email alert system that you can sign up for, the email alert system, and you will get an email every time I post something to TikTok. You'll get an email, and sometimes you get the email before it gets posted to TikTok because TikTok sometimes puts it under review. And so it works faster. And a lot of times people are missing these trades. They're missing this information, and it's too late by the time they hear it 2-3 days later, and it's no longer relevant. So this allows you to know when I post something so that you can go take a look, because sometimes this stuff happens at 1, 2 in the morning. And when you have the email, you can set your alerts more customized with your own separate ring for them or whatever, so that way you're catching these trades every single day. If you're trying to day trade, this is definitely for you. If you're trying to weekly trade, it's definitely for you. But if you're just a long-term holder, it's probably not, relevant for you. However, if the markets are crashing, you're going to want to know. If the markets are pumping hard, you're going to want to know. And in the area we are with XRP right now, you're going to want to know what's going on, because it can go either direction right now. It can go either way. And if you are looking to trade, you want to be on top of that. Don't lose your 401k because you didn't want to sign up for an email list. Host, let's do TA on Pengu. I will. All right, Mr. Zines, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to do it for Mr. Zines. Even though you're not a subscriber, I do appreciate you. So, and you already said you were going to subscribe, so I'm just going to do it on good faith. All right, let's do Pengu. I think we did Pengu earlier. Penguin coin. Is this it? Pengu? Let me see here. Pengu, penguins, pudgy penguins, US dollar. There it is. Ooh. That I didn't even hear about before one of your subscribers mentioned it. Yeah, a few people have been, and by the way, TikTok seller just posted, we are on Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat. Come on over to Twitch. Thank you, TikTok seller. Much appreciated. TikTok seller's been here since day one, before we had a studio, when I was just a dude with a tablet pointed at a screen trying to shake people awake and say, hey, you're going to lose your 401k. Wake up. And we were months early. I've been screaming that we were going to be crashing since January. And now I'm like, okay, I'm impartial. It could go either way. We will see. Pengu, let me tell you, on the day chart, it could be this bull flag. Possibly a bull flag. However, if it doesn't hold, and because it's a low market cap coin, okay, because it's a low market cap coin, when they pump like this, you get a pump, a consolidation, and a pump, it's more likely to fall and consolidate and then crash, which would be a head and shoulders. Okay. However, I generally don't do technical analysis on these coins like these low market caps, because they never pan out the way they should. But let's look at the 1 hour. I don't know. That's a hard one to call, man. See, this is a clear bull flag. That's a bull flag and a pump. But look, this was another flag right here. This was a nice pennant, and it freaking broke downward. And it looks like it's forming a spinning top right now. So it could go either way. I would say it's probably more likely that it's going to break down, just to be honest with you, because it's a meme coin, right? So being a meme coin, I don't know. You really can't do technical analysis on these ones. I would say that it looks bullish, but it's probably not. These are just too hard. God chooses who he blesses. You can trade all you want, but the Most High knows how to distribute wealth. I agree with that. Write the trends and let's analyze together. All right, let's see here. Here's my trends right here. This is a flat bottom, and it broke down, and that would indicate that this pattern already moves. And I'd say that this is, I know it looks like a pennant, but it's not, because the bottom is a straight line. If you want to do algo, you got to become a subscriber. Yeah, this kind of breaks it. We need more data to really know. If you'd asked me a couple hours ago, I would have said, oh yeah, it's going to break down, and I would have told you it's probably somewhere around 1 cent, and that's kind of where it landed. Yeah, the pattern's void now, so there's not enough data. And that's kind of where everything's at right now. Not enough data to know. If you want to do algo, don't forget to become a subscriber or come on over to Twitch. All you got to do is write it in the chat on the Twitch side, and I will do it for free. We can't say the G word on here. You're gonna get me hit with guidelines. Please don't say the G word again. I'll have to remove you. Yeah, I can't. We have to be very careful, because we are already like walking an edge with TikTok. I'm gonna have to. I file at least 9 appeals after every live with TikTok. That's why we are moving to Twitch, and eventually TikTok will be gone altogether. So it's a problem. I can't even say the B word. I have to say guidelines, because if I say the B word, then they start flagging it, and it's bad. So yeah, don't even write it in the chat, the word. There's just certain things we can't say on here. It's so ridiculous, and that's why I'm fed up with TikTok, and we will be moving to Twitch, and that's why I offer the services to look at any other project on Twitch for free, because we will be leaving this platform. And most of the people on Twitch, they end up liking the show better. Oh, what's going on here? Sorry. So we got a couple people watching on Twitch. Not too many right now. It's a bit of a slow day. Markets are pumping. TikTok is booming though. We got people watching on TikTok, which is awesome. But don't forget, we will be leaving TikTok. So come on over to Twitch. What's the Twitch? It's Oz the Crypto Goat. Same as TikTok. Same on YouTube. Once TikTok shuts down, conversations are better on Twitch. I agree. And the thing is we're in a 90-day thing with TikTok. TikTok could get removed again in the United States at any given moment. And so we've created this space on Twitch to mitigate that. Because any day TikTok could be gone and then you'll never be able to find me. So if you do like the show and you're enjoying it, or you're just sitting there, add me on Twitch, because there will come a day where I won't be here or TikTok itself won't be here. So that's why we have the Twitch as a place to go. And don't forget, we're always on YouTube as well. All of these sessions are recorded and posted to YouTube, and I will be having other channels as well. And we're going to have multiple different style shows. And so keep that in mind. TikTok won't be around forever. Yes, Oz the Crypto Goat, all lower cases, no spaces. And you'll find me on Twitch. And it looks just the same as the one on TikTok, except for it's a different picture of like a little white goat instead. There's a lot of people waiting for you to give us the username. Yeah, it's Oz the Crypto Goat, all lower cases, no spaces. Here, I'll type it in for you. Oh, caps lock is on. Dang it. So yeah, just go Oz the Crypto Goat, just like my name is on TikTok, same on Twitch, same on YouTube. Candy Chief says hi from TikTok. And who are you on TikTok? So that way I know what your name is and know who you are. Mind you, if you do come over to Twitch from TikTok, make sure you shout out what your name is on TikTok. It'll take me a little bit of time to remember and learn you, but as you keep chatting, I'll remember who you are. So Candy Chief, my TikTok, my username is Flacco. What is up, Flacco? How you doing? And I believe, Flacco, you had a request to look at a project. What was your request? Remember, if you come over to TikTok, it is free for requests. There are ads, though. Okay? So if you have to watch the ads, subscribe, broski. Appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. Randomly found you, so I'm a new viewer. Glad to have you. And I do apologize for the ads on Twitch, but there's nothing I can do about it. The only way to get rid of the ads is to become a subscriber, or just watch them, and I'll answer your questions after you deal with the ads. Just message me, hey, I had to watch ads, and then we'll get to your questions. So let's get back to the news. We got some more news. So basically, Fed's not going to cut rates, and this is from TradingView and Reuters. So I like Reuters. Okay, I didn't pull up Reuters' official site because it is just full of spam. But TradingView is probably one of the best places to get news from. It's not for technical analysis, okay? Some of the technical analysis they put out there is way outlandish. Like, people are predicting like $100 XRP. I don't listen to a lot of those. That's a lot of crazy talk. However, the news, the actual news on TradingView is solid. I don't know. I'm in XRP long position. So let's watch the news. Definitely. And the news is what is moving the markets. That's why this is also investigative journalism. We are not only reading the news, but we're fact checking it and we're finding out what the truth is in the news, because if you're reading headlines, you're going to be misled. And how many people here, obviously you've been watching the show, but how many of you newcomers think that the SEC case with Ripple is over? So many people think that it's over. The injunction is still in place. What's up, Mother of Dragons? Yeah, nothing but fake news. It's crazy. But the SEC case is not over. It's got a long way to go. And institutions will not be able to buy XRP until the injunction is removed. And the only way it can be removed is with a judge banging the gavel. I've been saying this for months. Glad to see you back, Mother of Dragons. It's been a while. Glad to see you so much. All right. Market prepare bets on Fed rate cuts following U.S.-China tariff delay. It's a delay. It's a pause. Oh, you see me on Twitch? Oh, I don't know what your name is on Twitch. I'm glad to see you on Twitch. Texas Bear, hey, just came over from TikTok. New follower. Also new to crypto. Awesome. Texas Bear, much appreciated. What is your name on TikTok? Yeah, tariff pause is not a trade deal. Also, the UK has not signed a trade deal as well. Yeah, if you guys move over from TikTok, send me a message and let me know who you are on TikTok when you're on Twitch, so that way I know who you are, because a lot of TikTok seller 444 is easy because he's got the exact same name as on TikTok as on Twitch. And where's the earth-shattering G news for all Americans? You talking about what Trump said? That there was going to be shattering news? You want to know what the shattering news was from Trump? They're going to raise the prices of medicine in all other countries and sign an executive order that we have to pay the same. So instead, everyone notice how our healthcare goods and medicines cost more than other countries? That's because we pay extra for them for basically the testing and things that go into making the medicine, and the other countries get it at a discount and we pay those extra costs. Well, now what they're going to do is they're going to raise the prices of all pharmaceuticals in every country, and the US will have to pay a little bit less. So the cost is going to go up for everywhere around the world, and the price will go down in the US just a little bit. We're going to share the cost of pharmaceuticals. What's up, Ivorez? You're not a subscriber anymore. What happened to you, bro? I miss you, bro. Get rid of Starmer. Trump said tonight pharmaceutical prices will be cut by 59%. Yes, that was the earth-shattering news. My TikTok is Jay the Bear 81. Glad to have you on Twitch. Shaz, what's up? Oh, Kayleen G is Mother of Dragons. All right. Glad to have you on Twitch. Candy Chief says XRP is going up right now. XRP is not going up. Is it? Refresh it. I don't know. It's below the blue line now. We're down to 245. We hit all the way to 243. We could We could go up, but I think it's coming down. I think we're coming down. We'll have to watch and see. I like to watch the day chart. It gives us a clearer picture of what's going on. There's just not enough data in the 1 hour to even, and I don't want to look at any other chart really, because it's just gonna get you hyped up. I always tell everybody, Ivarez knows this, get off the 1 minute chart. Get off the 1 minute chart. Start watching the 1 hour and the 1 day. Okay. The 1 hour will show you what's going to happen within the next day or so. And the 1 day will show you what's going to happen in the next week or so. Ivarez says, not the 1 minute chart. Yeah. Dang, Mr. Zine. With so many gifts. Another, what is that? Another 80 TikToks. Much appreciated. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends, send in those gifts. We have 6 out of 10 Let 'em Cooks. Let's see if we can reach this goal for the Let 'em Cooks. Help me reach the Let 'em Cooks goal. We have 6 out of 10. I've been trying to reach that goal for like a month now. It's a great medication, will be cheaper for Americans. I think medications will be cheaper for Americans, but for other countries, they will be more expensive. So if you don't live in the United States, the cost of your pharmaceuticals are probably going to go up another 50%. However, most other countries have free healthcare. So your governments are going to be paying for it. I think there'll probably be some costs out of pocket to you, but the thing is we've been paying extra, and other countries have been reaping the benefits. We're pretty lucky in Australia. You know, I've noticed there's a lot of you in Australia watching the show. A lot of people from Australia, which is awesome. You know, my name's Aussie. I'm an Aussie. Yeah, it's your daytime, which is great. And that's why I do the show when I do it, because I can get multiple countries in at the time that I do the show than just on the US side. And that's why we, do global news and not just the US news. All right. Speaking of news, we need to read this. This is important. Markets prepare bets on Fed rate cuts following U.S.-China tariff delay. Investors trim bets on Federal Reserve rate cuts following the announcement of delay of the most punitive tariff imposed in the Trump administration trade battle with China, with an additional rate reduction now not seen until September, only half a point reduction seen by the year's end. And we're not going to read, I guess we can read more of this. With U.S. bond yields rising and stock futures pointing to higher equity prices, contracts tied to the Fed's benchmark interest rate reflected a lower of concerns about U.S. growth and the Fed need to bolster it with rate cuts sooner rather than later. A dollar rising after the announcement that tariffs would be lowered for now would also, all things equal, help temper inflation. Markets have been expecting a quarter-point cut at the Fed's upcoming June meeting and 2 more over the course of the year, according to data from the CME group FedWatch tool, those expectations shifted out after the U.S. and Chinese negotiations said they would limit initial tariff increases for 90 days while discussing more comprehensive deal. The U.S. lowered and we know what they already lowered it to. So some people are saying that rate cuts are coming. Some people say that they're not. I don't think they're coming yet, because our real inflation comes from the banking system. The banking system, 2/3 of inflation comes from the way the banks lend out money. It has nothing to do with all these things. 1/3 of the inflation is due to this. The problem with inflation right now is everyone is living off of credit cards, credit card debt. They're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And that is the problem. All right, let's get rid of this. We're done with these. Let's move on to the news with Russia and Ukraine. And I know this is a crypto show, but golly, the war and what's going on affects the markets. And this is important. This is also a news show. Yes, we do technical analysis. Yes, we do trading. We do day trading. We do long-term trading. We do everything. But it's also a news show, because being well informed is how we predict the sentiment of which direction the market is headed in the long term. So being informed is what helps us to be informed in the market as well. Neo with the Let 'em Cooks. We got 8 Let 'em Cooks from Neo and 2 from Censored by TikTok. Thank you so much. We have 6 out of 10. All right. Ukraine says Russia launches barrage of drones amid calls for truce talks. Ukraine authorities says ceasefire proposals are being ignored as new drone attacks damage civilian infrastructure. Now, this picture, I don't see anything except for trash in the road. I do not see a drone. I do not see anything. Who knows? But this is what Ukraine is saying. Ukraine says Russia has fired more than 100 drones overnight despite attempts from Kiev allies to get Moscow to begin a 30-day ceasefire and the prospect of direct talks proposed by Russia this week in Turkey's Istanbul. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky on Monday welcomed the possibility of the United States President Donald Trump's participation in talks with Russia and Turkey on Thursday, and said he hoped Russian leader Vladimir Putin would not evade the meeting. He added that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan can indeed host the highest level meeting. In his nightly address, Zelensky said Moscow has remained silent all day regarding the proposal for direct meeting, a very strange silence. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha said earlier that Russia is completely ignoring a 30-day ceasefire proposed by Ukraine and European powers that was to have begun on Monday. That's today. Ukrainian air defenses destroyed 55 of 108 drones that Russia had launched since 11 p.m. on Sunday, the Air Force said in a statement on Monday, the day the ceasefire proposed by Kiev and its European allies, Russia, was to begin. The attacks also included 30 similar drones that were lost along the way without hitting anything. The Air Force said drones were shot down in the east, north, south, and central parts of Ukraine. It added, one person was wounded. The buildings were damaged in the southern region of Odessa. Its military administration said the attacks also damaged railway infrastructure and wounded a train driver in the eastern region of Donetsk. Ukrainian National Railway operator said ceasefire proposals are being ignored and the enemy continues to attack on railway infrastructure. Ceasefire calls proposal of direct talks. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Monday that Putin was serious about trying to find peace and direct talks with Ukraine that he has proposed with Turkey, but could say no more about the talks about Kiev, demanded Putin himself attend. Sheba, speaking in London at a meeting with several of his European counterparts, said Russia continues to reject the full and lasting ceasefire proposed to begin on Monday. He insisted Moscow is intent on prolonging the war instead of seeking peace. Let's see here. There was more to this, or maybe it's a different. I think we got a little video though. Let's take a look. No free ads. Let's read the chat while we're waiting. You got all 10 of the Let 'em Cooks and they registered. They're not registered on your goal. I know. I don't understand what's going on with TikTok. They are really just trying to hurt me. TikTok is not being friendly to me. It's a little disheartening what TikTok's been doing.
Russian President Vladimir. Hello, welcome to the program. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he is ready to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin face-to-face in Turkey on Thursday. But Zelensky says he's waiting for Russia to agree to a full ceasefire starting on Monday before the talks take place. That's after a series of diplomatic exchanges between key players to end the 3-year Ukraine war. On Saturday, Ukraine and European leaders called for a 30-day unconditional ceasefire at a meeting in Kyiv. Let's go now to Zain Basravi, who joins us now live from Kyiv. Zain, I wonder if you could clarify exactly what Zelensky has been saying in his latest statement. Is he now saying he will meet with President Putin on Thursday, regardless of that 30-day ceasefire, which he has been insisting on until now?
This is really an interesting political chess game that Zelensky is playing. And it has to be said that this really feels like the moment that the Ukrainian president has been working towards for some weeks now. He's been calling for more pressure on the Russian government, backed by sanctions, calling on international leaders to put more pressure and the threat of sanctions on Moscow to bring them to the table. And that seems to be playing out now. We had this high-profile visit on Saturday by EU leaders backing that plan, and the White House of U.S. President Donald Trump on board with the idea of a 30-day ceasefire. And now we see Zelensky over the last few days pressing the idea of a ceasefire backed by the threat of sanctions. And now we see this statement. Let's look at the latest thing that he said. He has said, taking to social media, we await a full and lasting ceasefire starting from tomorrow. That's Monday, May 12th. And he goes on to say to provide the necessary basis for diplomacy. There is no point in prolonging the killings, and I will be waiting for Putin in Turkey on Thursday. Personally, I hope that this time the Russians will not look for excuses. Keir Starmer, the British leader, said something very interesting when he was here. He said that together the world was calling Putin out. And in this sense, we hear it directly from Zelensky himself. He seems to be doing the same thing. So to answer your question, what we know are two things now: that Ukraine will indeed be represented at those talks in Turkey. They will be going. And the main man himself, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, will be going to Turkey to try and take part in those talks. Now, what we are hearing from several observers and analysts and experts on these political matters is that this is an expert move by Zelensky, because he wins either way. He goes and shows that he is leading from the front, that he is willing to participate in talks to end this war, serious talks, not just a ceasefire that lasts for a few days. And if Putin does not show up, it works in his favor. It illustrates what Ukraine has said all along, that Russia is not serious about stopping the war. If Russia does come to the table, then it illustrates that they are willing to negotiate with Zelensky, whose role they have tried to downplay since the beginning of this conflict. So it will be interesting to see what happens in coming days. It is about 9 p.m. local time here. We are expecting this ceasefire to take effect from midnight into tomorrow, but people are bracing for what they expect will be more air raid sirens and possibly more Russian attacks. They are not expecting Russia to honor the ceasefire.
Okay, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next few.
You know, people like weeks ago were like, oh, there's going to be a ceasefire and they're doing all this and it's going to be fine and the war is going to be over. And I'm like, wake up, guys. This is not over. And it's far from over. Honestly, I think it's just getting started. I think the tariffs is the beginning of a hot war, possibly, and it's showing where allegiance lie. We're finding out who our real allies are, because I think we could be headed into World War III. I really do. I think when we look back on history, they're going to say that this was the second Cold War or this was World War III. And I firmly believe that. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Even if there is a ceasefire, it doesn't mean that there's an agreement that this is all over and it's going to be done. So, you know, keep that in mind. And don't forget, if you do want to help support the show, the best way to help and support is to send donations directly to the Cash App or Venmo. Or if you're watching on TikTok, you can click the Stream Elements link right there and it will take you to send through PayPal. When you send through TikTok, TikTok takes most of the money, and Twitch, I don't even receive enough there. I don't really get any of it. I maybe make $1 a live from doing TikTok. So the best way to help support the show is by sending your donations directly to me. I get to keep 100% of it. And I use that to pay the staff and I've been building the studio. And your support has been keeping this thing going. That's why we're able to have an IT guy here and take care of things. That's why we're able to have the fact checker on site to double check and make sure that we're getting the facts out properly and deep diving into all these things. That's how we're able to have the team of journalists to go through the news and with a fine-tooth comb, and then I go through and double check it, because I can't do it all. I'm making memes. I'm, running this show. I'm doing 4 or 5 hours, 5 days a week. I'm watching the charts like 20 hours a day. I'm doing the technical analysis and I'm going through the news. It's a lot of work. And so you guys, when you give to the show, you help support and pay for all those things. We're basically PBS. Without you, this show doesn't continue. And I've had to cut back on staff some, but we've been receiving some donations, so I'm able to bring people back on. But basically everything you give goes to employ all these other people, and we're building something here. We're creating jobs. We built this magnificent studio. I've probably made a couple $100 off of TikTok, and I've invested over $15,000 into building this studio, and I'm paying the staff on top of it. So everything that you send, it's not going to line my pocket so I can buy more XRP. It's going to building this show and keeping it going, because we're not making any money. The TikTok, we don't get nothing. You know, the Twitch, we don't get nothing. YouTube, we don't get nothing. It's still new. And until we get to a point where we're actually making money, then it's great. When we first started this show, you know, I was making, you know, a couple $100 a week, which was like, all right, we're actually making some money. But now TikTok, the reason we get hit with the guidelines so often is they're scamming us. They take, when we get hit with a guideline and they strike us, then they take the money for the subscriptions. They take the money for the live, and we don't earn anything. But because we tell the truth, we keep getting hit with nonsense. But if we don't come together as a community and keep this thing going, it will die. And the truth won't prevail. But I believe that the truth always prevails. I believe that if we continue and we come together as a community, we can build something that will grow into a point where you won't have to support it. These platforms will support us. So we have to come together as a community. And remember, if you can't afford to give, you can always hit the like button. You can always share the show with your friends. You can always follow. But when you subscribe, it also helps the algorithm. When you send in donations, it helps me pay the staff. All these things happen. And we built this magnificent, magnificent show because of you. This isn't because of me. This is because of you, because there are people listening. You guys want the truth. And I want to find the truth with you. And that's what we're about here. We are here to find the truth, and we're here to also become wealthy, because I believe that the only way to fight this system is going to be this war will not be fought like any other war. It will be fought in the minds of everyday people. It will be fought with pen and paper. It will be fought with your pocketbook. And they want you to live in the pod and eat the bugs. And I'm here to help you find a way to secure your family's financial freedom, so that way you do not have to live in the pod. You do not have to eat the bugs. I want you to be able to grow generational wealth so that you can live a life that's truly free. I'm a free man here. All I do is this show now, and I spend time with my family. I retired from my job as an audio engineer in LA. You've probably seen my work on TV for all of you who are new here. And I did that for 17 years. I'm 36 years old, and I'm retired, and I've done it off of crypto, and I've done it through trading. And you can get there too. And I'm here to help you make those smart moves, because you can't get rich by buying the top and holding. It doesn't work like that. XRP is not going to $10,000. I'm sorry, I hate to burst your bubble, but it's not going to happen. So if you're looking to trade and you're looking to make money, become a subscriber, because that is going to help you. As a deluxe subscriber, you can message me directly and I can help coach you. And as a basic subscriber, you get access to my daily price point videos. I'm literally telling you where the market is going every single day. We have been so accurate to the cent nearly every single day. So not only that, if you're here to find the truth, this is the place to be. And thank you all of you who donate and you support this show, and you're here day in and day out, and you're my loyal following. I love and appreciate you all very much. I do this every day for you guys. I sometimes overdo it and I stress myself out. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I retired from being a workaholic and I don't know how to not work now. And so I found a way to channel all of that into something positive where we can grow and produce something of value, and not just a monetary value, but a value of truth, a way to find the truth, because right now it is so hard to find the truth. I can't tell you how much work goes into digging to find the truth. Not going to 10K, he said it's going to 20. Yeah, who, Calvin told you it was going to 20? Those of you who are new, we have a little joke about Calvin Hill because me and him got into it on his live one time. Calvin Hill said XRP would be worth $9,000, or was it $7,000 or $9,000 by April 9th. Calvin Hill said XRP would be worth $7,000 by April 9th. Bro as flipped his gourd. All right, let's finish this video here.
Our Zain Basravi there for us in Kyiv. Well, let's take a few steps back, because Volodymyr Zelensky's statement followed shortly after a post on Truth Social by Donald Trump. The US president said the following: President Putin of Russia doesn't want to have a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine, but rather wants to meet on Thursday in Turkey to negotiate a possible end to the bloodbath. Ukraine should agree to this immediately. I'm starting to doubt that Ukraine will make a deal with Putin, who's too busy celebrating the victory of World War II, which could not have been won, not even close, without the United States of America. Have the meeting now.
Ain't that the truth?
Let's cross to Mike Hanna in Washington, D.C.
Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends.
From
send
Donald
in
Trump
those gifts or
speaks
send
for
a
itself.
donation. Help support
just
the
talk
show.
us through the details of it, if there are any more details, and what sort of reaction there's been to it.
Well, in reading out the statement, you provided all the details completely. But it is interesting in the timing of Zelensky's confirmation that he will be going to Turkey for that meeting, because before that he was insisting on a ceasefire as a preemptive step before going to the meeting. However, then we had this social media post by Donald Trump in which he urged Zelensky to go to the meeting regardless because, says Donald Trump, we, by which he means European leaders and Ukraine, will know where Russia stands finally and will act appropriately. So Donald Trump's social message apparently goaded Zelensky to agree to take this meeting without Russia accepting the ceasefire, which previously had been his absolute insistence. So now you do have a situation where President Trump has intervened and would appear to have persuaded the Ukrainian president to attend that meeting in Turkey. What comes out of that? Well, Donald Trump appears to be rather pessimistic, saying that, as we heard in the statement there, that Putin of Russia doesn't want to have a ceasefire agreement with Ukraine. But the point that President Trump is making is that the meeting should go ahead regardless, because then it will be very clear where Russia stands, whether or not it is prepared to enter real negotiations, whether it is just stalling, in which case, says President Trump, we, the European leaders and Ukraine, will take appropriate action. Most significant about this social media statement is that President Trump is coming down on the side of the European leaders and Ukraine, despite sometimes in previous weeks where he appears to be having the maximum pressure on Zelensky and less on the Russian president. That appears to have shifted now if this social media post is to be accepted.
Okay, thank you for that. Mike Hanna there for us in Washington, D.C. Let's speak to the analyst Michael Bosicue. He's a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. He joins me now from Victoria in Canada. Many thanks for your time. So, Michael, what is your sense of where we are at right now? Is, in terms of how our correspondent put it, is this a political chess game that President Zelensky is winning right now?
Yes, well, we couldn't ask for a better, more dramatic chess game, geopolitical chess game than this one. And it looks like President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine has just checkmated Mr. Putin by saying, okay, I'm going to show up in Turkey on Thursday, and I expect to see you there. I believe Mr. Putin was expecting to send lower-level officials to Istanbul to meet with lower-level Ukrainian officials and to do what he always does, is to drag things out as long as possible while gaining more territory and while continuing to pulverize Ukrainian cities. The other thing we know about Mr. Putin, he does not react well to ultimatums, and that's what was given to him by Western leaders in Kiev yesterday. And we could see that he was rattled at that press conference yesterday. He didn't take any questions from the media, but he was reading very, very closely from prepared notes and looking very tired. So things could go either way right now, but it would be, I think in the long run, fantastic if they both met face to face. Very, very bold move by Mr. Zelensky, and that's being reflected on social media in Ukraine right now, too.
So what, I mean, you have so much experience on the two countries. You spent lots of time in Ukraine. What is your sense of what is going to happen next? Because President Zelensky essentially is insisting that ceasefire begin in a few hours from now. Is that what we're going to see or not?
Well, the only way we will see Russia adhere to that ceasefire is if real teeth are put in place by not only the Europeans but also the Americans in terms of sanctions. But it needs a broad-based, across the globe approach. And what I mean by that is they have to get their friends in the UAE, in Turkey, in Thailand, to really threaten to put the noose around Mr. Putin and his circle of oligarchs. And say, okay, no more luxury property buying in Dubai, no more parking your yachts in Thailand, no more, tourism even to Turkey. Cut that flow off, and then Mr. Putin will really feel the pain. Just quickly on this one, I mean, we saw the huge disruption the Ukrainians caused to Russian tourism and aviation when they sent drones over the course of 3 days, interrupting operations at 13 airports. That really brings the war home to Russia, to ordinary people.
What's your question, Mr. Zines? You want me to replay it? Go back a little bit. Bro definitely got hella use in his goose. Oh, GCSE. All right, I misread that.
And that's what needs to be done now if they don't adhere to a ceasefire.
Trump has threatened to walk away from the peace process if there isn't some kind of settlement or agreement on a ceasefire soon. It does feel like we're coming to a head here. Do you think he might walk away? And what is that going to look like?
Yes, I do. I mean, it really, I don't mean to sound too cynical, but it really does feel like the rules-based international order is in a free fall right now because of Mr. Trump wanting to walk away from big problems. I mean, I think that's why the India-Pakistan conflict went as far as it did, because no one sees red lines anymore, and the U.S. is not intimately involved. Same thing here. Autocrats like Mr. Putin, when they don't see solid red lines enforced by the United States, they go further and further. All they see is gray lines to be exploited. So it's crucial that the United States put its full force behind this and threaten, along with Europe, those biting sanctions and more weaponry to Ukraine. That would really push Mr. Putin in the corner, I think.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and thoughts today. Michael Bosicue, senior.
All right, that's it for the news today. We're going to wrap it up with a little technical analysis. We got about 30 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions or any projects you want me to go over And check out, if you're on TikTok and you want me to look at a project for you, all you got to do is come over to Twitch. That's Oz the Crypto Goat, all lower cases, no spaces. And you can get that for free, or you can become a subscriber on TikTok and I will go over those that technical analysis for you. But remember, TikTok will not be here forever. TikTok will more than likely go away in the United States. Either way, the censorship is ridiculous. So come over to Twitch. It's our safety net, because we get hit with guidelines all the time because we tell the truth here. Because we tell the truth, more than likely we will get hit with those guidelines. And this is our way of doing things so that when it does go away, which it will, it may not be today or tomorrow, but you're going to need a way to find me and still be able to see the show and find the truth, be a part of what we're doing. Bro, you're going to make me download Twitch. You should. You should, because one day, and I'm thinking by the end of the month, I'm not going to be on TikTok anymore. Just by choice. Just because I can't handle hiring someone just to deal with legal issues. I'm to a point where I'm going to have to hire somebody just to deal with appeals. Harley Dan, I just found you. What's going on? Danny Gibson, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I can't afford to go live on TikTok and make $1 or $2 off of TikTok and then have to hire somebody just to deal with appeals. Yeah, it's been a long day. And look, we're coming down hard. So let's talk about this. I want you guys to see this. I think we should have head and shoulders right here. We shouldn't have got this green candle. However, the news drives things. And because of AI trading bots, it's very easy to find the patterns because the bots give it away. Because they tend to just do the same patterns over and over and over, and then they'll switch to a different pattern and it'll be over and over and over. But things will change in the market because of the news. So we got this pump here. We should have head and shoulders right here. We should have pumped up here, had this shoulder, pumped up again, made another shoulder right here up to the blue line, and then came back down. That's what should have happened, but the news broke that pattern. However, because of it, it's forming an even nastier head and shoulders. And I believe that we could drop down here and that would bring us up. We would pump up again and we'd just touch this blue line and not break through it because we don't have the news to break it out. We've already broken that support. We've already broken through and we're coming down even more at 243 right now. And if we consolidate up this blue line right here, we would fall and this would be an even bigger head and shoulders, bringing us back down to 212, 210, and even as low as like 208, 205. So if we don't get back above this blue line and see more of a trend like this, but even then, this is a a broadening ascending wedge. Wedge. This is a broadening ascending wedge, which is also bearish, which means we could drop down here to the X, pump back up one more time, and then fall. And that lines up with this X. Remember, X marks the spot. We got one here, we got one here. Double X'd right here. We got a double X indication of a drop down. So yo, big dog, I got shit to do now, but want to leave respect, and may the Most High give you what you deserve. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your support today, and glad to see you here. Don't forget to follow the show. Don't forget to subscribe or come on over to Twitch so that you can catch the show from now on. And don't miss out. Much love, Mr. Zines. Much love. So, I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Is either way, I'm not seeing anything indicating a higher push upward. If we had stayed above this and you know, opened this other candle green and started going up, I would say, okay, we're headed towards $3. But there's a potential of hitting 270. I doubt it though. But we could pump again. But more than likely, it's going to play out a head and shoulders pattern here and break down. But if it changes, obviously I'm going to post that. Yep, we got that pump. Let's go down. Exactly. It's been pumping since 163. It pumped, it consolidated, it pumped, it consolidated, it pumped. And if it continues to consolidate up this line here, then I would say that's an indication of going upward. But if it starts breaking down hard like it is, it would indicate not only that it needs to break down 50% like it is right now. See, it broke up and it dropped about 50%, and then it broke up and now it's dropped about 50%. If it can't hold that and it continues to consolidate and then drops, it's a head and shoulders. Either way, from 161 all the way to 265, there hasn't really been a price correction. It's due for it. It's due for a price down to $2. So it has to show us that it's firmly breaking above this before I'm going to be a believer. And believe me, I will be the first one to say, hey, we're turning around, you know, but I'm not here to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what it is. I think we could potentially have another pump up to 270. But it would take news to break through this line. It would take news. Now that we're below it, it's no longer support, it's resistance. We're going to need a firm deal with the UK, a firm deal with China, or we're going to need the war, a ceasefire to happen. Something's got to happen. Crypto summit, news, something we're not expecting, ETF, regulation, the case actually being solved, which I don't see it happening that soon. It needs more time for the case. And I see these 2x indications right here. Everything is pointing towards downward movement. And let me tell you, if we break below this line right here at $2, because it'll probably move sideways. If we break below $2, best believe we're going to see at least $1.50. Well, I'd say more like $1.60. But more than likely, it'll break even further. because the panic selling will happen. A lot of people bought right here. People were calling me, messaging me today when we hit like 260, 265-ish. Were messaging me, should I get in right now? Though, think of all the people that don't have me to message me and they just FOMO'd in and got in right here. They're going to hold all the way down till about $2, and then once it breaks $2, they're going to jump out. They're going to get scared, and the panic sell-off will bring us all the way back down to this blue line. And look at how nasty this is, okay? And mind you, this blue line is getting extended now. It doesn't fall straight down. It works its way down, which means it could end up somewhere around $1 by middle of June. Middle of June, beginning of July, we could be down to $1. If it breaks down, but every indication is a bearish trend. We have this bearish trend line here. We have this bearish trend line here. We have this bearish formation of this ascending wedge. We have this bearish formation of an ascending broadening wedge. Every indication going down from macro to semi-macro to minor to the most minimal indication, everything says bearish. Everything does. I don't think we're out of the woods yet. If it breaks upward past 270, and I would say if we start hitting 280, we could potentially see, if we can break 280, we're going to see $3. But I just don't see it yet. There's no pattern whatsoever indicating that that's what's going to happen. How's Ethereum doing? That's a good question. Let's look at Ethereum. Also look at XLM. And hopefully you guys were watching the show last week, and I told you the moon cycle that we were going to pump until Monday. And here we are. Pumped until Monday. Hopefully you guys listened, heeded the advice, and you made some money. And we're doing well. So glad I took profits when I did. I'm glad you did too. Ethereum, there's just not enough data. There's not enough data. If Bitcoin crashes, I would say Ethereum's got a real shot at getting its alt season. However, let's look at a shorter time frame. Ethereum is this ascending channel. I'd say it's kind of more like a widening wedge, just like everything else. And it's breaking downward. The question for Ethereum is, and we'll have to watch, is it going to double bottom here and move up? I'd say possibly. It's probably a double bottom because look at the candles. The candles will tell you everything. Everything you need to know. Okay, this is a bit of a spinning top. I wouldn't quite call this a hammer. But look at this long wick right here. Look at these long wicks on the way down. Look at this wick here. It seems like it's bottomed out here at 2410, 2418, somewhere like that. And it probably wants to double bottom there, which would send the price up to 2550, 2560 ish. And if it goes from there back up and breaks through the blue line, then I would see it's probably going to shoot up. But more than likely, it'll hit that blue line, which is right at that resistance. And it'll probably fall short, and it'll break down from there. And then I would say that it's in consolidation. Can I have a look at render? Of course, buddy. Let's look at render. What was render's tag? Just REN or REND? Here we go. Render US dollar. Render is kind of a head and shoulders inverted. It could potentially see was that $6 or 6 cents? Yeah, $6. Wenderman, if you want me to do Sui, you got to become a subscriber or come over to Twitch and write it in the chat on Twitch, and I'll do it for free. So all you got to do is go to Oz the Crypto Goat on Twitch, because we are leaving this platform. So hold on, Morgan, on this, because this is a very wonky head and shoulders. It's not very textbook. I want to look at it a little deeper before I really call that. I would say that this in the short term is a descending channel, which would indicate a movement of at least back up to where it was at 546. But it could double top there and start coming back down. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. I would definitely take profits at $246. Double bottom means that, see this is a double bottom right here. So double bottom means that it hits here, it pumps up, it drops down, and it hits here, and it's at like the same spot. When it drops in like this and it double bottoms like that, it shoots up right after. And I would say that this is probably more of a double bottom than anything, and it's played out. But there is a possibility, because of this formation, it's going to shoot up again because it's like a descending channel. And look, it's kind of double bottomed on the 1 hour as well. It looks just like Ethereum. It's probably going to double bottom right here and then shoot back up. But there's just not enough data to tell if it's going to do more. So we'll just have to keep an eye on the chart. So keep an eye out. If it starts moving up here like this, I would say double bottom, and it'll, you know, at least reach 541 on render. But you gotta just watch and see what it forms. So Morgan, if you want coaching or on-demand technical analysis for Render, all you got to do is become a deluxe subscriber, and you can message me because I would say that it would be Tuesday, Wednesday when we finally have enough, maybe even Thursday, enough information to be able to call this what direction it's going. Everything's kind of in a limbo right now. Everything looks like it's got a little bit more in it. It's going to try one more time because it pumped so hard and it's price correcting, and people are going to be, you know, trying to get it going again. But I think we just pumped so hard for a while. Look at Render's pumped all the way since 249 all the way up to 552. It is due for a nice price correction of 50%, which would be about $4 minimum. It's due. So it's going to take news. If anything's going to continue upward moving, it's going to take news. The only reason we didn't drop today is because of the trade deal. So I say the news. Mr. Zines with 50, 60, 78 TikToks. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to call it a couple minutes early for the show. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great night. I'm going to get some rest, much needed rest. Yeah, it looks perfect for to correct the market. I agree. I think it's due. It had a nice another little bullish pump. It's just due. The only thing that's going to turn this around is news. So keep an ear to the news and look for that speculative pump. HD Malicious, no problem. Much appreciated. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. Y'all have a good night. Nothing happened with that trade stuff, right? What do you mean nothing happened? XPF. I decided not to buy any XPF because it seemed a little bit sketch. You have to go through Telegram to sign up to their trust fund thing to get it. I'm just gonna wait for it to hit the market. It's too risky. I might throw a couple bucks at it, but I can't in good conscience recommend it to anyone because I don't know if it's a scam yet. By the way, the cameras are coming soon. Very soon you'll be able to see my face. I'd say any day now. I'm gonna have to get a haircut. I hate getting haircuts because nobody can cut my hair right. And it's really not hard to cut.